was good music. That was some good music.
The best.
The best. God, that reminds me of my childhood. All right, you ready to light this candle, sir?
Let's do it.
Are you ready to put the flames to the wick?
Yes.
All right, we're going to do it. Boom! What is up, guys? Welcome to Tech Talk episode, I think, 27. I already forgot since 27. I typed in the title. 27. Oh, man, look at my memory worked. Welcome to episode 27. We do this every single Saturday. If you're new here, please like, favorite, subscribe, sell to your mother-in-law, whatever. We are here to talk about technology. Doesn't mean we won't talk about other stuff, but primarily we're here to talk about technology. This is our show that every week the Dr. Professor Beardosaur, a.k.a. AuxxZillary, a.k.a. Houston, a.k.a. the man with the pretty lab coat that he never puts on anymore because he's just getting lazy.
Dude, it's too hot, man. The fabric is too thick. It is hot.
You're ruining the stream, though.
Just saying, man.
It's okay.
I think I packed up all my purple lab coat in particular is it's almost like it's like sailcloth. The thing is, it's thick, almost a canvas.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, is that because it's like is it a real chemical jacket or something? Like, is it supposed to withstand acids and stuff pouring on your face?
I don't know, but it's like I have a couple other white ones that are lighter material, but they're like polyester, I think. But this one's like a heavy. It's like not quite as heavy as say a denim, like denim cotton, but it's rough and hefty like that. Like it's robust.
No, that's cool, man.
Fucking heavy and hot. Fucking heavy.
All right, I am going to share the stream out. If you guys have not shared the stream out, please do so. We need to get at least 850,000 people in here to beat Dr. Disrespect.
Man. Oh,
we can do it. We can do it, man. We can do it. I have faith. Today is the show that we're going to break at least 60,000 live viewers.
Well, no, what happened? We need to get banned for 3 months first, and then make a comeback.
You're totally right. I didn't even think about that. Well, yeah, you got to create some dramatic thing, and then you got to make everybody wonder what it is and have it be the best kept secret on the internet. And then people that don't even know who you are all of a sudden are talking about you every day. Yeah, that's right. We're doing it wrong. All right, I just tweeted it out. I'm gonna go ahead and pin it to my profile too, and I'm even gonna give it a like myself. I know that is a terrible, terrible thing to do. Punishable by internet death, but I went ahead and did it anyways. Because viewers. It's all about the viewers. It's all about the viewers, baby. Okay, let's see. Okay, I'm putting it on. Oh, I'm even putting it on my private feed, so we might get a couple of my family members in here. Be nice to them in chat. Well, only as nice as you feel you need to be to them, but try to be nice. And then I'm going to put it over on the Barnacules Nerdgasm Facebook. Let's see if we can get some more people in here. As we're waiting for people to come in, it looks like, what are we at right now? About 183 people and counting?
Let's see. Yeah, about that.
Yeah, looks like people are starting to wander in here. This is nice. This is nice. This is how you build an empire, sir.
One brick at a time.
One brick at a time. It's all right. The IRS gets their money whether they make $1 or $1 million, so it's all good to them. Right. Let's see. I don't need that window. I don't need that window. I think we're doing pretty good. How's it going? Chat, he said that there's audio lag.
Audio lag?
Well, here, let me check the stream here. Hold on. Okay, say something.
Something.
Oh, it's doing that stupid shit again.
Dagnabbit.
Dagnabbit, why is it doing that? Here, say something again. Let me look at the other preview.
Something again.
Oh, actually, it's not that bad. No, it's not that bad. They're complaining about nothing.
They're fine.
You're gonna be fine. It's okay. Audio lag is all part of the game, baby. If everything was perfectly synchronized, you'd think that we were professionals. And you don't want to get your news from professionals. Tech news from professionals, no bueno.
Have you guys tried Twitch Studio instead of OBS? Well, we stream to YouTube, so I don't think Twitch Studio is gonna work.
Your mom's Twitch Studio. Was that a sick burn? It was pretty sick, right?
Sick, like it's got COVID.
Sick as in it needs a ventilator and it needs to be in the hospital going, another shot, please.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Cigars, not piling T-shirts like Savage. Hey, do I come into your home and diss how you do your thing? No, I'm just kidding, man. This is temporary. My house still being built, so this is the way of things for now.
You know what's funny is there's actually late night hosts right now that are actually going out of their way and spending thousands of dollars to build the set you have behind you right now to give that home feel. So really? It's so we just say that, just roll with it and be like, dude, the clothes that are behind me and stuff, that's all placed meticulously to play mind games on you people.
Right.
What do you mean, you people? Talking about you in chat. Hey, what's up, Jesper? How's it going? He says, hey, champs. Ooh, I like that. Are you going to get the new Windows headset, the Reverb G2? Well, one, I didn't know that Windows had a headset. Are you talking about Microsoft? Like, Microsoft has a Reverb G2? I know the Microsoft Surface headphones are supposed to be pretty good. I haven't listened to them personally, but a friend of mine has them, and he says that they're like the cat's ass. So, apparently, I'm actually, you know what? One of the worst buyer decisions. This is going to be totally off in left field, like most things are on the show. I bought the Beats by Dre Apple editions, the new ones, like the Gen 3s, right? They are not good. Miss Barnacules loves them. Don't get me wrong. She's very happy with the purchase because we got them on like a wicked sale. They were like half off basically. But man, they do not sound great. Like Beats were always known for their noise canceling and their bass. And I feel like the Gen 3, their noise canceling isn't good, and the bass isn't as good, and the audio isn't as loud, and the mids are kind of muddy. So I'm like, why?
I don't know why people like them so much.
Yeah, well, I know Microsoft sells their stuff for about the same price. I want to say the Microsoft Surface Studio headphones are like the same price as the Beats Gen 3, like at least when they're not on sale. And I'll tell you right now, like from experience, like go with the Surface headphones. They are better in every single possible conceivable way. Trust me on that one. Just trust me. You can trust me. I'm a trustworthy guy. Just look at this face. Look at this face. All right, let's see. I think we are pretty well and good advertised through the roof everywhere. We currently have 207 viewers in here watching.
225, I see.
Oh, jeez. It went up. We got so many people. Please smash that like button if you enjoy our tech ramblings. Jesper said, yeah, Microsoft. Sorry, misspell. You misspelled Windows as Microsoft? I'm just messing with you. Jesper's like, fucking I'm out of here. You're being mean. No. I know what you meant. I often refer to Microsoft as Windows, just like, you know, my grandparents used to refer to as the internet as Google. like there was a time. Let's see. Is there anybody else in the chat that's being engaging? We got Steve. He said, did you see the initial Starlink speed tests? Ooh, have you seen the Starlink speed tests? I have not.
Nope.
Ooh, I heard. So the rumor that I heard is that the speeds were going to be pretty high, but the lag was going to be somewhat significant, like 30 ms or something like that. But if I had to guess the speeds, I'd say they got to be like approaching like at least a half gigabit for it to really be practical, in my opinion. But here, let's go. I'm curious. What are the? All right, Starlink test speeds. All right, let's see. Come on, Google. No whammy. Let's see here. Starlink to offer speeds up to 1 gigabit per second. No, that's what they're trying to shoot for. What did they actually get? Don't ruin it for us. Just put it in chat. Oh, 40 milliseconds? Well, 40 milliseconds still isn't bad. I mean, you're not going to be doing like gaming and stuff on it, but 40 milliseconds for every other aspect of the internet is just fine. Yeah, like the average. Yeah, you wouldn't notice, would you?
No.
Let's see here. Starlink speeds. Okay, so these are leaked internet speeds from the people that are in the beta program. Oh. So Jerry, it looks what?
Will you bring the alert box forward at least one layer so that it appears on top of the binary scroll?
Sir, yes, sir. Let me. I gotta find it first. Hold on here. Okay, alert box. Okay, I think I found it. Now you want me to move that up to the top?
Yeah. It looked like part of the alert because we got some super chats. So part of the alert was behind the binary scroller.
Yes, sir. I have moved it to the very tippity top, and I'm even gonna expand it in size just for today's stream. So if you super chat, you're going to get like so much more like in our face explosive action. By the way, we do split all the super chats. If you guys are wondering how the payment model works on the show, gets us motivated to come to work. We just split it right down the center.
Keeps me flush with coffee and Belvita breakfast cookies.
Same here, sir. Same here.
Not an ad. I just love
Speaking of which, well, you guys are our advertisements. Like the super chats are our advertisements. Let's see. Let me look under viewer activity because we do have those 2 super chats. We got old Pup Shepherd. What is up, Pup? How you doing, bro? He said, thank you for the $10, by the way. That is a super generous super chat. He said, Wiggles Wag Wags. You ever play around in Second Life? Oh, dude, way back in the day. Is that still a thing? He said, you can be a furry and no one would ever have to know. Well, no, if I was a furry, I'd let everybody know. I'm that kind of guy. You can even make your own avatar and upload it. You can look like a computer. Well, Pup, I'm going to tell you right now, I'm not big on like hiding my fetishes and stuff. Like that's not, I'm one of those people where it's like, I don't know. I think my fetish is just getting off on other people's responses to how weird I am. So if I was a furry, and I'm not saying like I've never done any furry stuff, but I'm not opposed to it. I would totally like if there's a furry costume that fit me. Oh, dude, I'd be like furry fest. If it wasn't COVID, I'd be like a furry fest like the next day. And I'd be like, show me your ways. Like, I don't care. Like, everybody that tries to put the stigma around that community, it's like, dude, it's a bunch of people in like freaking like stuffed animal costumes snuggling with each other. Like, how could that be bad? That sounds like the most amazing thing ever. Let's see here. Dave 091102. Because Dave's big on personal serial numbers. Thank you for the 5 poundaroos, dude. He said, hey, Jerry and Ox, how are you both? Hope you are good. I love the sound of my HyperX Cloud 2's awesome sound. I actually have a pair of HyperX Cloud 2's. And I can tell you right now, buddy.
The wireless ones, right?
Oh, wait, are those the wireless ones? Or the Cloud 2's? Maybe I have the Cloud ones. I think I have the original wired ones.
I have a wireless Cloud something. HyperX, right? It's a HyperX
headset? Yeah. I think they're creative HyperX, right? They sound okay, but the problem is they make the same mistake that all the other cheap headphones do, and they put a 50 millimeter driver in when it should be a 60 millimeter. So you lose a lot of the fidelity. That's what I noticed with mine too. But it's not just common to them. It's like pretty much any headset under $100, you're gonna get 50 millimeter drivers, and some of them are still using 40 millimeter drivers. Holy shit! I looked at some of my old headphones yesterday when I was just digging around in the room, and I found like 3 different headphones that all had 40 millimeter drivers in them. And I'm like, why am I even keeping these? Wow. Like 40 millimeter, no bueno. Like, and I know some people will be like, but it's the quality of the driver, man. It's the quality. Well, at a certain point, you do have to move a little bit more air to get them bassy basses. And so, and I was not impressed. I was not impressed. The Clouds do sound good though. They're pretty tight.
They're all right.
There's another brand that I just found that's another 50 millimeter driver. It's the Astros. I think they're A10s, the inexpensive Astros. They're like the non-wireless wired Astros. They're pretty cheap, but sound good. They sound really good. I actually won them at PDX Land and put them on, and I was like, oh man, these are actually kind of nice. I like these. I like them a lot. Let's see what we got here. Okay, so Starlink speeds. I just got the leak. So these are the confirmed. Take that with a grain of salt though, because it's just posted by a beta tester. So beta tester who's in Starlink confirmed. Let's see, 50 megabit download, 14 megabit upload. Okay, that's poopy. Their top speed they achieved after like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8 tests. The best they did was 60 megabit down and 12 megabit up. Ooh, I'm gonna guess though that they've got a lot of beta testers hitting like a small amount of the infrastructure. Once they get more satellites up there, it's gonna give more and more bandwidth. I don't think that's a limitation of the technology. I think that's just a limitation of the current deployment. And it looks like an average ping between 31 and 94 milliseconds. So quite a bit of drift on the millisecorinos. So, well, those numbers do have to go up because nobody's going to buy their internet at those speeds. Well, I shouldn't say nobody. There's still people that'll buy internet at those speeds, but I certainly would not be one of them. Do we have any beta testers in chat? Do we have any Starlink beta testers in chat that have been using the service that would like to remain completely anonymous and tell us everything about it? And no, we don't want to know your name because then Elon will try to kill us to extract it, and we don't want that. All right, let's see. Did I fix the notifications? Hold on, it's going to happen here in a second. Come on, notifications. Come on, notifications. You can do it. You can do it, little alert box. Come on, little alert box. It'll catch up. It's just taking a second. It's shy. it's a shy alert box.
Try again.
Let's see. Well, here, I'll just read it, and it'll pop up here in a second. Hey, Naota, thank you for the $10 super chat, you generous bastard, you. Thank you for being around for a long time, too. Naota doesn't just hang out here. He also comes over to my Twitch stream and listens to my ramblings. He said, thanks for the recommendation on the ATH M50 headphones. Sound quality is awesome, and now I can listen to music on my Bluetooth headsets. Keep up the good work. Buy some coffee. We absolutely will, and thank you. Oh, look at that big notification. Look at that thing. Here, I'm going to make it bigger. Watch this. Today only, full screen, in your face notifications to make everybody else envious and jealous. Because that's how you survive on the internet. Through clickbait and bagging.
That's right.
It is. It's true. Man, no shame here. Wait, hold on here. Hey, Champ, are you going to get the new headset, the Reverb G2? No, I already read that one earlier. I want to see what this is, though. Wait, I haven't even heard of this. So
yeah, but someone in chat said it was a VR headset.
Reverb G2. Oh, it is a VR headset. The HP Reverb. Okay, sorry. I'm thinking Windows, but he's saying it's a Windows headset, not that it's made by Microsoft. Okay, I got you. Let's see what the specs are on this bad boy. Because I have been looking for a Windows HMD. That's a head-mounted display for you uninitiated VR people. Let's see, next generation HP virtual reality HMD developed in collaboration with Valve and Microsoft. Okay, so Microsoft actually did have a part in it. Comfortable and compatible VR experience. Okay, what are the stats? All I care about is the stats. Just give me the stats.
Give me the stats.
Oh, give me the stats. Okay, it says immerse yourself in ultra sharp visuals with mirror-free 2160 by 2160 LCD panels per eye with full RGB stripe. Oh yeah. What's the frames per second though? It doesn't say. That's never a good sign when they don't say the frames per second. You can pretty much be guaranteed it's low. I will tell you this though, HP and who's the other one? It's HP and not Samsung. God, who am I thinking? HP. There's 2 Windows head-mounted display people that have actually made headsets that are higher fidelity than like the Valve Index.
Wow.
And you can get them for like $400 or $500. They're actually not crazy expensive. So, and being a Microsoft headset, you don't need any of the tracking equipment. The controllers are tracked by the HMD, so it's something that you can literally just throw in your laptop bag and just like take with you everywhere. And you too can play Beat Saber in the middle of the bus driving through Seattle while people look at you weird.
Truffle!
Oh, I gotta do the truffle shuffle? Well, hey, for anybody else I'd say no, but here you go. Ready? Do it! Hey, the dude abides. Oh shit! I made the notifications too big. Hold on, I gotta shrink them down a little bit. I got a little too overzealous with the size of my notifications here. Ah! I'm losing control. Major Tom to ground control. Your alert box failed you. OBS Studio is a steaming pile of shit. Actually, it's not OBS Studio. It's Streamlabs OBS. There we go. Streamlabs OBS is a steaming pile of shit, though. I highly recommend that you don't use it. If you guys didn't hear the story before, you are probably getting robbed and charged $5 a month and don't even realize it by using a free piece of software. Go look it up.
Do it.
Hey, big spoon. Thank you for the $5. Make me holla. He said, my spoon is too big. My spoon is too big. My spoon is too big. I am a banana. Wow. So, wow, he is into bananas. Check it out. He's got a banana with a spoon in his avatar, and his name's Big Spoon, and he tipped $5 to say that. Ooh. So he is a man that is passionate about his spoonage. I can respect that.
Nice.
Hey, Buddog18 Personal, thank you for the $5. That's very nice. You said, Super Chat sponsors, huh? Well, this podcast is from a musical mad lad. Look me up. So, wait a second. You're a musical mad lad, Bulldog18? Do you really want me to look you up? Like, you want me to dox you live on stream? Okay, hold on. Let me do that. Let's see. Okay, wait. Theremin Beat Radio, is that you? Are you Theremin Beat Radio? That's what popped up. I did Buddog18 and I get Theremin Beat Radio.
What are some must-have buttons a Stream Deck for you?
Do you use a Stream Deck?
Not me. I've been thinking about it.
You need a Stream Deck, dude. You can't call yourself a live streamer unless you have like at least 3 Elgato products. It's kind of a requirement now.
I mean, I've been on a hiatus for like 6 months, so I don't know if I could call myself one anyway.
Well, no, you just got to message them and be like, "Hey guys, I do this live stream over on Barnacules Nerdgasm. Would you please send me one?" And they'll be like, "Oh yeah, here, have one."
Barnacules? Oh hell no!
They'll be like, "Hell no, we send that guy so much shit and he never reviews it. Fuck that guy." That'd be funny though if you like dropped my name and it actually put you in a worse standing. That could totally happen. Let's see here. Pup Shepherd, thank you for the $10 dues. Damn, Pup Shepherd going in hard. He's that $20. Yeah, you heard that, Pup Shepherd. I said going in hard. He said, I got a folder redirection problem at work. DFS is in use. It's same as domain name. Users get error, can't find network path, but when using the IP, I can get their files. Oh. So DFS is the distributed file system protocol thing, right?
Yeah, sure.
And it's the same as the domain name. Yeah, that's going to end up being like competition for name resolution through DNS. A cheap fix is, if you want to just fix it on your computer, just go into the host file and just redirect the main domain to the IP address. And that should fix it for you. As far as fixing it for everybody that's on the entire network, I would add a subdomain to your DFS share. So instead of it being the domain name, add something like file dot and then your domain name. That way it's a completely different DNS resolution and you don't have to worry about it like trying to connect to the domain name server instead of your DNS share. So just that's what I would do. I would just add a subdomain. That way you don't have that like competition for name resolution. That's what I would do personally. I don't know if that'll fix your problems, pup, but give it a try is what I would do. I've been loving that voice lately. I don't know why. What?
The Rode. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I just
please do.
Sometimes the Untidy Tech was saying to check out the Rodecaster Pro, and I think you've mentioned that before.
I have.
Interested in one of those.
I have. I was looking at the Roadmaster Pro and the AuxxZillary because they both have a very, very similar feature set.
Yeah.
The Rode, though, the one thing I liked about the Rode is it has more inputs. Whereas AuxxZillary is more about just one live streamer being the center of the show. The Rodecaster is more about like a group of people. Like working together, like you have multiple inputs, multiple outputs, and stuff like that. And I think it costs around the same when you compare like the AuxxZillary high-end model to the Rodecaster Pro, that just their whatever model. Mm-hmm. And I've heard really good things about it. Their marketing though hasn't been anywhere near as good as AuxxZillary's, so you don't hear about it a whole lot. And but I would highly recommend that you give Rode a shot because I actually really love Rode stuff. Like I have lots of Rode equipment, and it's never let me down, never. As a matter of fact, I just got some Rode wireless microphones that are like, I mean, they're the kitty's titties. Like, you literally just put a magnet under your shirt and slap that sucker on there. You don't even need a clip. You know those annoying mag clips that you have? Like, in the transmitter and the microphone's all in one box. You just put a magnet behind your shirt, you pop that sucker on like a little refrigerator magnet, and you've got a fully self-contained transmitter, microphone, everything. So that's what I'm going to be using moving forward to shoot my videos. And the audio quality is pretty respectable for the size, too. Hey, what's up, George? How's it going, buddy? We got the Unity Tech in here. He said, he's the one that said check out the Rodecaster.
Yeah.
If you can find one, Rode has been sold out for a long time on almost everything.
I bet.
I think it's because the whole China contention and tariffs and COVID and like everything basically stopped shit from getting over here.
That and people just buying them out. Like everybody's at home trying to do, live stuff or video calls and all that stuff. So.
Well, they wanted to send me one, but they literally said that they had none in stock. And then the Rodecaster microphones they wanted to send me for review. It took 4 months for them to get here because they were out of stock. Like they literally had to have one made in China, thrown in a box, and then sent over to me in 4 months. And the best part was they sent me every accessory for it before the actual microphone arrived. So it'd be you literally you order a car online. It's like they send you a can of gas. And it's like the car shows up 4 months later. It was kind of interesting. He said, did you fix your mixer and the speaker issue you had a few months ago? It turned out it wasn't my mixer board. I thought my mixer board was the problem that was introducing static and audio failures. And it turns out it was my Logitech Z5500s finally shit the bed. A couple capacitors blew out in the amp that's on the back of the subwoofer, at least I'm guessing. And so she needs to be reserviced. So I did what any self-respecting tech guy would do. I begged Kevlar Condom to just give me his old stereo setup. And that is now going to replace the Z5500s. It's just easier than fixing stuff. It's like my options were, okay, be a technical guy and take apart and repair my Z5500s like any self-respecting tech guy, or just hit up Adam and see if he has some stuff out in the shed he ain't using anymore.
Right. I feel like K9 could have just got in there with a soldering iron and had you fixed right up.
He could. As a matter of fact, he's probably the person I'll take him to. I'll probably shoot a video, like a DIY-gasm, of fixing the amplifier for this, because this is a phenomenal sound system. If you've ever heard the Logitech Z5500s, I will say without a doubt, and I will put this forward, and people are going to be, no, Klipsch. No, screw Klipsch. These are the better sounding system. You have 500 watts of power. You have I think it's a 10-inch subwoofer, and it's actually one of the better sounding subwoofers I've ever heard, even from a home theater sound system. I mean, it'll shake all the glass out of this entire room with zero distortion. The speakers are pretty fantastic. They've got a really decent range and decent power handling. I think each one of them can handle 80 watts RMS, which for a computer speaker is insane. And I used to have a Klipsch setup. I used to have the Klipsch 2.5, and honestly, it sounded great. Don't get me wrong, Klipsch does sound amazing, but they use the two 8-inch drivers instead of one 10-inch driver, so they couldn't hit that super, super deep bass that I just crave so much, unfortunately. Let's see, what do we got going on over here in the chat skis? Pup said, I just hope I don't have to change the folder redirection path. I did that while move files to location was checked and people lost files during DFS to file server. Well, here's what you do. Well, no, you're not changing the IP address. Remember, you're not changing the IP address. So anybody else that's using the IP address method to connect to the share, which I'm guessing they are since nobody's able to do it with the domain conflict, if they're all using the IP address method and you just change the domain name of it, you won't affect any copies that are already in progress because they're already going to be going through IP. Now, if you went in and changed the IP address, like if you went into DHCP and said, oh, give me a new IP address, that's a different one, then of course you'd break everybody else's transaction. But I think you're safe. Just adding another domain, because you can have multiple host names resolved to the same IP too. So you can go in there, you can put in file.domain.com, you could put in dfs.domain.com, you could put in Pup Shepherd's little hidden file server that nobody knows about, .domain.com. You can have as many of those as you want, pointing at the same IP address if you want. Hey, George wants to know what kind of music you like.
I mean, all kinds, really. Well, I say that, but there's still like some that I don't actively like look for or anything. Like, you know.
I heard you're into Mormon
metal.
Gospel. I heard Mormon death metal was your thing.
Let me look at this.
Mormon death metal.
Gospel. Dude. Death metal? Let's see about this. Hey, man, you're goofing, but here we go.
You'll find it. You will find it. You will find it.
Style. Mary Poppins sings death metal. That sounds cool.
Actually, I'm about to blow your mind. You listen to Imagine Dragons, right?
You know, yeah, I wouldn't.
Come on, everybody listens to Imagine Dragons. Did you know the lead singer of Imagine Dragons is lives in Salt Lake City and is a Mormon? Did you know that? The dude that wrote Thunder is a Mormon. I was like, my mind was blown when I found this out. Although he's like a pretty cool Mormon. He actually fights for like LGBTQ rights and all that stuff. But I thought that was crazy. I was like, wait a second. So like the guy that does like, and I love all their songs. Imagine Dragons can't make a bad song. As a matter of fact, even when Imagine Dragons is just making music for like video game competitions and stuff, they still can't screw it up. It's like great, like the thing they did for League of Legends. Oh my god, I forget what the name of the song is. Ooh, but the music they did for League of Legends, the tournament. Oh, dude, it's like it's standalone a hit, man. It is so good. It makes you tingle in all the good spots. Listen to Sail crossed with Radioactive. Wait, sail like sail away.
Sail
away, sail away,
no,
sail away.
Sail by AWOL Nation.
Oh, I don't think have I even heard that song?
Sail.
Is it like a ripoff, or are they just at the same beat so they fit together?
It's probably like a similar like tempo and whatnot.
Miss Liz said Prince, dude. Miss Liz said Prince was a Jehovah's Witness. Oh my god, could you imagine Prince knocking on your door? Be like, hey guys, how's it going, guys? That was a shitty Prince. I haven't heard Prince in a long time. I can't do a Prince impression. He was wait, no way. Michael Jackson was a Jehovah's Witness? I don't believe that.
Huh. Yeah.
Wow. I'd believe Prince just because of how weird that is, but the Michael Jackson's a little too weird. Wait, so wait, Michael Jackson's family was Jehovah's Witness? Really? His mom was a devout witness. Wow. See what happens? The kids just grow up and they go postal. See, this is what happens. This is what happens. You knock on a bunch of doors and then kids figure out how to make some money doing it. And they start handing out next thing you know, they're handing out their flyers to like their set that they're playing down at the local tavern. Like, hello, I would like to share my set with you. Wow. I learned a thing today. That's always the goal of this show, is to learn a thing. And boy, did I learn a thing. Let's see. What is it? Wait, you should make an opening HDD video? So what? Kenny's Bus Drawings? What are you talking about? What you talking about, Kenny?
What?
You should make an opening HDD video, like a hard drive video. Cracking a hard drive, dude. I did.
But like unscrew it. Did you bang the shit out of it, or did
you? No, I hit it with hammers until like parts were like pinging off the walls and sticking in the walls.
No. Like actually deconstruct the thing.
Oh no, I don't think I have done deconstruction. Actually, wait a second. Did I harvest the magnets in the bat knife video? I don't remember.
I know you've mentioned harvesting the strong batteries out of hard drives before.
Yeah, so let me see. Bat knife HDD. Let me see if I can find this. I did. I want to see. Oh, do I show it the video? I think I do. I think I might already have the video showing you this. Let me confirm. I'm scrubbing, and yes, I have confirmed. I have taken a hard drive apart in a video. Let me send it to you. So I'm going to go ahead and just put this right here in chat if you guys would like to take a look at it later. Hold on, is it going to let me? There we go. Boom, boom, boom.
Jerry, what camera is it that we see on the stream? What is the model of that camera? Is that your super crazy FX 1000 or whatever?
No, sir. The camera that you're watching me on right now is a Sony FDR AX33. It's basically a handy cam. 33. Okay. Yeah, it's the oldest of my Sony Handycams with the gimbal stabilized lens, which is worthless because I have it on a tripod, so there's no point.
I was thinking about at some point in the near future, like after the move and stuff, maybe getting a better camra. But,
dude, the video quality on this is insane though. Like if this will rival like an A7R Sony.
That's the
for webcam.
I think I use one of those at work occasionally.
AX100
actually.
RX100.
It's the Model 6 or 7.
Yep,
one.
That's an RX-7 right there.
Yeah,
and it's a fantastic little camera. I mean, it's literally just for the laziest of video shit. Like if you want good quality video and you don't want to mess with it, if you try to tackle it and try to make it do your bidding, like as a videographer, you're going to be let down. Right. But if you're just a point and shoot guy and you just want the best video possible, like otherwise you'd shoot your video on your cell phone, the video quality that comes out of that beats this camera. This is a $3,000 Sony PWX Z90V or PXW Z90V. And this is like a fancy camera, but it's like all manual. Like even on auto mode, it sucks. You have to know what you're doing to get good quality out of this. This, you don't have to know what you're doing. This, you just turn on, you put it on green box, you hit record, and it figures everything out. Autofocus, exposure, HDR, all that stuff's just done internally. You don't have to mess with it. It's wonderful.
And for a webcam or for like the stream or whatever.
Oh, all of these will work as webcams. But like every single one of them is all you need is.
At work, I just figured out how to use the the AX33 because we got a few of those at work, and I just figured out I just got it working as my webcam. You'll notice a tremendous quality improvement on Friday's stream compared to the others, and that's kind of what got me into thinking about camera and stuff, and maybe a new one.
Yeah, with the webcam, you're not going to compete in any way, shape, or form with what you're going to get from a real camera and a capture card. Like it's no contest the amount of control. Plus I can even adjust the exposure like this. Like I can do it on camera, right? I can adjust it on the camera to get it like brighter.
Right.
If I want, I can change the saturation, all that stuff I can do on camera, so I don't have to mess around with anything else. It's actually wonderful.
Yeah.
I actually noticed I am a little bit under saturated compared to you. So what I can do is I can double click on this thing right here and I can add a filter to it. Go down here. That's what I love about OBS. And I can say I would like to add color correction. So let's add a color correction factor. And then I'm going to go ahead and just turn up that saturation just ever so lot. Whoa, too much. Too much. Too much. Too much. Get it to where it looks like real life. And that way I don't look like a ghost next to you. Like.
Man, those are expensive.
Oh, the RX?
Yeah.
Yeah, the RX isn't the camera I would choose for economical. But I'll tell you what, you can get the Sony AX33s because they're kind of old now. Yeah. You can pick up one of the FDR AX33s, which is what you're watching me on right now. It can do 4K 30, it can do 1080 60. It's gimbal stabilized. It's got a really nice sensor in it, and I want to say that you can pick them up for about $400, $450.
I'm seeing sometimes. I mean, it's a wide range. I'm seeing retail like MSRP is $850.
Oh yeah, if you buy it brand new, but you don't buy this brand new. It's an ancient camera.
Yeah. Interesting.
Totally worth it though. I mean, I absolutely love this camera. It does a fantastic job. Let's see.
Yeah, I know it's a really good one.
But also, let me think. So for you, another really good option is to find one of the old generations of these, like the Sony RX. If you can find an RX 3 that has, but you have to be careful because the HDMIs on them are really fragile. So you want to make sure whatever tripod you put on, whatever, you have a stress relief on the cable. But the image quality that you get out of this is, see, I have both of them. I have this is the 3 and then this is the 7. They look identical.
Right.
But the 3 as a webcam will still just kick the pants off of this one, and you can probably find these ones. You just want to make sure the HDMI out works, because like people will sell these with broken HDMIs because like everybody's broke the HDMIs. But it looks absolutely phenomenal. Like I've had people, I'm missing out on the cheapest, easiest of all. Oh man, if you got a capture card, GoPro Hero 4, just the 4, not the, they're already up to like 8.
Really?
If you can get a GoPro Hero 4 Black Edition, and you plug it in via the raw HDMI out, and you crop the sensor into 1086 to 1080/60.
Yeah,
dude, it looks gorgeous. Like honestly, I've done that before with my Dexter arm, and people thought that it looked sharper and better than this camera.
Interesting.
So, do you have a GoPro laying around?
I have the Hero 2, I think, somewhere.
Even the Hero 2 would look pretty good.
It still had the fisheye lens on it.
Yep, they're not. Check and see if it has. I think all the way from the first one, they had uncompressed HDMI out.
I'll have to check that out.
Fire it up, dude. Plug it in. You'll be surprised. The sensors they use in those GoPros. What's that?
Getting a newer one wouldn't be a bad idea. It's like $120 for a 4. You know?
Yeah, no. The fours have come way down, way down. But make sure that you don't get the action cam version. What's it called? There's the GoPro Hero Black, and then there's the GoPro like little black cube cameras.
Oh, right. Yeah.
You don't want those. The action cameras do not have HDMI out. So you want to get a full blown little, but it looks amazing. It looks absolutely amazing. Hey Peter, thank you for the 10 sexes. We love those sexes. Very much appreciated. Alan BR, thank you for the 40 rupees. Said bad stream, blame it on Trump. We always do. We always do. Let's see. Unity Tech. He said session. Oh, the session. That's what it's called. The GoPro session. Avoid the GoPro sessions. I hate them. I bought 4 of them like an idiot back in the day when I was doing Cargasm, and the battery life on them is abysmal. You can't replace the batteries. They're built into, well, you can if you're K9, but they're not replaceable batteries, so you have to charge them up, every time. You can't just swap a battery on the fly. They do not have an HDMI out, which means you can't use like a capture card or something like that to use them as a webcam. Another option too is for $24 you can get yourself one of these bad boys.
What is one of those?
This right here is a Wysicam V2 with the firmware hack to turn it from a security camera into a webcam. And let me show you what this looks like right here. I'm gonna tell you right now though, lowered expectations for $24, but it doesn't look bad. Like watch here. Hold on. Okay, now it's all super oversaturated because I got the same filter applied to it. Hold on, let me fix.
Yeah,
let me fix my filter. No, turn off the filter. There we go. So that is the only problem with these though is the frame rate, right? You're only gonna get probably about 22 to 24. Like you're gonna get a cinematic frame rate.
That's cinematic gorgeousness.
Cinematic. So if you like it, like for $24, dude, for $24.
That's not bad.
No, it isn't. It really isn't. You can have this webcam for $24. $24 and you two can look this fantabulous from this little camera here.
I like that it's a little bit of a fish. It's got kind of like the bulgy edges. Yeah, that's kind of fun.
It's even got a magnet, so you can like magnetize it to things. But here's the camera. If you guys want to see, that's my AX33. That's what you guys are seeing me on stream right there. That's my normal camera setup.
That would be a good camera for build streams.
Yeah. Yeah, and just magnetize it to the case. Like, I think, let me see. Yeah, look at that. That'd be awesome. Like, I can just magnetize it to the side of my case here. Hold on here. That's kind of cool.
Fun. Huh.
And it works, right? So, no, for you can't beat it for $24. And then you can also just swap out the firmware and make it into back to a security camera. So you can just literally have a little SD card you put in it, and depending on which SD card you boot it up on, when you hold down the little button, it's either a webcam or it's a security camera. Let me switch this back to my AVIO 4K standby. And there I am. Now I'm back on the regular camera. But as you can clearly see, that is not a bad camera for 24 bones.
Not at all.
And because it's not technically a webcam, it dodged that crazy, like, the cost, right?
Oh, yeah. Everybody was trying to buy them up. Yeah.
Yeah, so now it's actually, there we go. Let me turn my saturation back on. I'm going to add in a little bit of a contrast. Oh, where's the contrast? There we go. You can actually do a lot with the filters. Like, you can give it a pretty blasé feed, and through a little tinkering, like make the video quality look so much better. Because some people get like really like down when they plug in a camera. They're like, "Oh man, it looks washed out. It doesn't look that great." And it's like, no, that's actually good. You want a nice flat color profile. You don't want the camera like super messing with all the colors, because then you can do it all in post, which is very nice. Yeah, seriously though, if you're gonna buy that Wysicam, go to my Amazon store. Then I get paid. I get like 50 cents every time you buy one.
Where's your Amazon link? I just posted a direct link to.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I think it's Amazon.com/shop/Barnacules1. Here, I'm gonna shill hard in chat right there.
Do it.
It also has links to like every other thing that I own in my life. Anytime I buy something from Amazon, I put it in the store. Oh, Kenny said, I mean a video where you take apart the entire hard drive and try to run it while it's open with a SATA extension. I mean, that's kind of fun, but it doesn't take much to kill a read head on a hard drive. Like, there's a reason that they have to be, like, vacuum sealed. Like, one speck of dust and it's done. Yeah.
It's going to ruin it. It's done. Yeah.
Yep. I've done that before where I've run hard drives, like, a long time ago. They might be even more sensitive now than they were back then. But I remember, like, breaking the seal on a hard drive, it was, like, instant, like, 80% bad sectors. Like, you're just done.
Done. Because it's the dust. Anything. Hell, it'll be, you could just get data corruption from the static of the air rushing in. Is going to corrupt your data.
Don't open your hard drives.
Well, if they're bad, go ahead, but you're not going to get anything out of it.
Yeah. Well, you get drink coasters are fantastic. For the two things that a hard drive will give you when it dies is it will give you up to 4 fantabulous platinum coated drink coasters, like top of the line platinum coated drink, and they look beautiful. They look absolutely beautiful, like way better than an optical disc. And you also get a really, really nice air bearing. If you know how to harvest it, you can get an air bearing out of a hard drive that it will be the smoothest running bearing you've ever seen in your life. I'm actually surprised that nobody in the 3D printing community has harvested the air bearings from a hard drive to like improve the precision of a 3D printer. And my favorite part is you get the magnets. There's 2 giant, super high powered neodymium magnets inside of a hard drive. And you don't really notice from outside of the hard drive because the way that they orient them inside of the drive, they basically cancel out the magnetic field. But if you take them apart and you pull out those 2 giant magnets, holy crap, man, they're holding the magnet under, like this right here. This is cut from cold tool steel. Yeah. That is bat knife. It probably weighs about, it's not super heavy. It's probably about a quarter pound, but still, in this tiny little thing, it's quarter pound. And one of those magnets like holds it so tight under the desk that I have to physically yank on it to get it to come off.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't just fall off. You have to actually grab it and pull on it.
Yeah, those things are no joke. They're fantastic. I love them.
Wonderful. So if you have hard drives, don't throw them away, man.
Don't.
Also, you shouldn't be throwing away your hard drives without destroying them anyways, because you can recover the data off of them. Even if they're like completely toast, you can get some data off of them.
With enough effort.
Yep. Well, okay, so let me tell you a little story to scare you children about what happened with my neighbor. Luckily, he's not my neighbor anymore, so I can tell the story now that he's not my neighbor, because he'd come over here and be like, "What?" I have no idea where he is. So he's probably watching this right now. Sorry, Rock. Anyways, my neighbor needed his hard drive crashed and his computer. It was basically booting up and it said like hard drive read error. And when you went and ran scan disk on it or whatever, it just pop up and say like 80% bad sectors. And half the time it would just go, if you put your ear up to it, it's like, wah, 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 and then it'd go click, 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 click. And then it'd go, wah, 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 wah. I mean, it was toast, dude. It was toast. So he's like, oh my God, I've got my Taxus on there. I have to get it back. He's like, do you know anything about this? I'm like, well, you asked the right guy, because I used to do data recovery for motherboard computers in Gorst, Washington. So I was like, I'll give it a shot. He didn't, I explained to him that, it could be a total loss. Like, I'm like, I may have to completely destroy the hard drive and not get anything. But he's like, but I'm like, it's toast, dude. You could send it off for like, $1,000 for data recovery, and they're going to charge you whether they get it or not. I'm either going to get the data or I'm not. He's like, okay, cool. Go for it. So I bring the hard drive over to my house and I plug it into my external SATA reader, and it's like, So the first trick that you learn with hard drive data recovery, especially when it's a problem with the disk not achieving its speed, is put it in a Ziploc bag, suck all the air out, and throw it in the freezer. So you throw it in the freezer and you just leave it in there for a couple hours. And what it does is it basically just shrinks up some of the metal that's in the bearing inside. So if the bearing is starting to wear out and seize, you basically just shrink up the bearing a little bit. And then you take out the drive, you plug it in quickly before it fires up, and you get it to spin up to speed. And once it gets up to speed, it'll usually hold that speed until you shut it off. And then once you shut it off, you got to go through the process again. Okay. Well, I took it and threw it in it was even identifying bad sectors. So then I run the test. The test said that the drive still had a shitload of bad sectors, right? So what I did is I ran a program called Recover. And Recover basically can do a raw read off the surface of the disk, where basically it just reads every sector up to like 100 times until it gets something that's not erroneous. And so even if you have a bad sector, there's a high probability that you will be able to read data from that point unreliably, but at least once, right?
Yeah.
So I just ran that sucker. I think it took about 3 days to completely. I think it was a small disk. I think it was like 100 gigabytes or something like that. It took 3 days of recovery, but I was able to recover about 95% of the data on his drive.
Hey.
So I was like, yes, success. So I transferred the data over to a new drive, because I had one laying around, and while I was transferring the data, I figured, I should probably make sure this data is good. I should check it for some integrity issues. So, I started going around and checking some of the data on this drive, and I start seeing tons and tons and tons of pictures of dudes with their wangs out. My neighbor this dude is like a 65-year-old Muslim man that's like married.
Hey,
so I was like, hey, but this just goes to show, whatever floats your boat. And this was his computer, not his wife had her computer too. This was his computer. And so I'm like, okay, this is interesting. So I'm like, I'm kind of getting in the mind of my neighbor. Well, anyways, I went fishing around a little bit more, and I instantly regretted it. Because I was like, I found I want to be clear. I didn't find anything illegal, but I found stuff that was like it wasn't the greatest. You know, it may not be illegal in Washington State, but it's certainly unethical. As
frowned upon.
It was frowned upon by the greater community. So, anyways, I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop doing this because I'll never be able to even look at the neighbor to hand him his drive. So I literally like took it across the street and gave him the drive back. I'm like, okay, here it's working. I got it back in your laptop. It was by the way, it was a laptop hard drive. I put it back in his laptop and I handed it back to him. I was like, okay, your data's back. He's like, oh my God, you saved me. Thank you so much. And I'm just like trying to keep a straight face. Like, oh my God. Because if you saw this dude, like he literally reads like he'd be like a high school principal type.
Hey man, it's usually the most tight folk who tend to be. I hesitate to use words like deviant because like whatever, man. What rocks your socks is, as long as it's not hurting little kids and stuff, fine, whatever.
Exactly.
But like deviant just carries a negativity to it that I don't appreciate. But like, I don't know, whatever, man. Like, but I've found that it is definitely, those who have to be very constrained otherwise that tend to be very freewheeling in their private lives.
It's like the straighter of an arrow in public, the crookeder is behind closed doors.
Oftentimes. And I think that's I mean, in a way, it's kind of healthy. Like, you got to have an outlet for some of that stuff.
Oh, dude, I ain't gonna shame nobody for none of that stuff. Like when I'm saying unsavory, I'm okay. Fine. I feel like now I have to qualify it to some degree so that people understand what I'm talking about. Let's just say that there was animals involved that may not have been of a partaking fashion, but here in Washington State, there are no laws against that. So technically it's not illegal, but I still find it to be unsavory. That being said, I don't care what you do. Like everybody's got weird kinks. Like I'm pretty sure Beardosaur over there has like a GIMP mask that he puts on and hangs from the ceiling like Spider-Man. I mean, I know it. It was more than just goats. Let's just leave it at that. But it was an interesting view because it's a neighbor that you never. It's people that you never suspect. And the same thing happened when I worked at this little computer store called Mothersboard Computers in Forest, Washington. Is we get computers in all the time that needed reinstalls of Windows, and they would always come in and say, "Could you please keep all our data? Like, could you try to so we wouldn't format the hard drive? Could you keep some of our data?" So what we'd always do is we'd basically boot the computer up with a utility disk, and then we'd do a copy of everything that wouldn't hit a sector problem using like it wasn't RoboCopy, it was some other program back in the day. But we'd basically copy as much of the contents that wouldn't give an error from the drive off to a third drive, and then we'd put a new drive in the computer and then copy it back, and then we'd reinstall a copy of Windows over the top of it to basically fix Windows, and then all the data that was recovered would still be littered around the drive. And there were so many times we did that where we booted up the computer and we found like crazy stuff on customers' computer, and we even had to call the cops on a couple occasions. So
rough.
And so that job actually ended up giving me a little PTSD from the things that I saw. And some of it wasn't even like the funniest story. And it's funny now that I look back on it, but this is a creepy story. So we had this customer, and I'm just going to call her Jolene because that was her real name. So she'd come into the store, and Jolene, I'm going to say, tip the scales at about 600. She's a big girl. But she was mobile. That was the thing. Like, she was like, you see some of these people, they're not, she was mobile. She'd grab her computer and like bring it into the computer store. Nice. And but the problem with this was, and far be it for me to fat shame anybody. I'm a freaking whale. But no, this is where it gets interesting. So she had a little bit of a crush on me. I don't know if it's just, the chubbies go for the chubbies. I mean, hey, I'm a little bit of a chubby chaser myself. So she always kind of crushed on me a little bit when she came in the store and like flirted with me. And she'd always be like, oh, so she comes in one day and she puts her computer on the counter. She's like, I want Jerry to work on it. And I'm like, okay, like I probably would have anyways. Like, there's only 3 of us here. And she's like, I want to make sure Jerry works on the computer. Well, the reason she wanted to make sure I worked on her computer was because when I booted up the computer, it was a picture of her in like see-through negligee laying on her bed. It's her wallpaper. And so the whole time I'm sitting there working on her computer, it was for me. And so I work on the computer, I fix the problem, and there was actually a problem. So she didn't just bring it in to make me look at that, but still. So anyways, I have to give her the computer back. And I go out and I put it on the counter. I'm trying to like maintain my composure and be professional here. And she walks up to the counter and she kind of leans in the counter. And she goes, hey, come here or whatever. And I come over there. She's like, what'd you think of that picture I left for you on the desktop? And I'm like, what do I do? So I obviously want to, make her happy. So I looked at her and I was like, nice, Jolene. And I like winked at her, and she had just like made her day. She was like the happiest person ever. And she grabbed her computer and like ran off. Well, scurried off. And I was like, oh my God, dude. And everybody in the store the second she left, everybody in the store started busting up laughing in the back room because they were all sitting back there like, oh my God, I can't believe Jerry has to go out there and like give her computer back after she did that to him. And she wasn't the only person to do that, by the way. Like we had quite a few customers do the whole trolley thing. The worst one was, oh my God, okay. So we boot up this dude's computer. He brings it in. And, what made it really weird was that I knew the guy. He's my parents' friend. Like my parents were friends with him. And he was a karate dojo instructor that was, I mean, friend of a friend, but my mom's friend. But I knew him. He'd been around my house before. And I'm like, he comes in the store and he's like, oh, hey, how's it going, Jerry? I'm like, hey, what's up, dude? I couldn't really remember his name. Hadn't met him that many times. But he's like, hey, your mom told me to bring the computer by here or whatever that you guys do repair. And I'm like, yeah, we put, $60 an hour or whatever. He's like, okay, yeah, that's cool. Yeah, my computer's not booting up. Can you guys figure it out? Sure, do it all the time. Okay, hey, come back later on today. We'll probably have it done here in a couple hours. Might have to reinstall it. He's like, okay, cool. And he leaves. And I boot the computer up. And not only is there nothing wrong with it, like, I don't know what he thought. He said it wouldn't boot up, but it boot right up for us. And so it boots right up and it goes right to the desktop with no password. And it's literally a foursome of him with somebody else that I know, my parents' other friend's wife, and his wife with the other wife's dude on a bed, and somebody was holding the camera. Like, or they had it on a tripod. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I knew 3 of the 4 people that were in the desktop wallpaper. I knew. And I was just like, what in the hell am I going to tell mom? Like, these are like her friends. And, oh, dude, it was like, and then my John, the other guy that worked at the computer store, he comes over and like hands me an external hard drive. And he's like, dude, you need to dump that. I was like, dude, no, not it. So he like walks over there and plugs in the hard drive and like literally downloads like 1,000 of their pictures off their computer onto his hard drive for his personal collection. So beware, people, if you take your computer to Best Buy or the Nerds or even Apple, know that if you have anything of a sensitive nature on that computer, that it is actually being copied and kept by somebody. Sure. Don't ever think that that's not the case.
At Fry's, the like tech support folk would like, it was like their unwritten standard procedure would be to do a search, like a search all for JPEGs, pings, MP3s.
Yep.
Basically all pictures, all videos, all music, and would copy them over to a drive. And like they ended up with thousands. And this was still kind of early Napster sort of thing. Oh, definitely illegal.
Oh, massively illegal, dude. Like
if they found out that they were harvesting that kind of stuff from customer, like, it's too late now. Fry's is dead. So like whatever. Yeah. And none of the people who were doing this are probably still working there. But like, yeah, they would just gobble up all the pictures, all the videos, all the MP3s, anything they could, and move it over to an external drive. And so like they had thousands and thousands of songs it was crazy.
Yeah, hey, if I give you one tech tip that rules them all, is whoever you take your computer to be repaired is going to troll through all your shit. Like, it's just a given. Like, it doesn't matter how much you trust that person. Curiosity killed the cat. And computers, it's just all sitting right there, and you're just like, you ain't got nothing better to do. You're like, okay, I'm gonna go poke around a little bit. So
mostly just harmless curiosity, but
but sometimes it yields. Well, here's one example that it actually did a good thing. Was at Mother's Board Computers, we did our usual thing where we did something similar. Drop out the command line and do like /dir/s/b filter stardot JPG. And then you basically do like a for loop of the 5 commands that would search for like GIF, vid, MP4. It wasn't even MP4 back then. It was like WMV or whatever. AVI. Yeah. It was AVI. That's what it was. We did have one customer that we actually got arrested because they brought in a computer and we ran that search on, and it turned out that they had a folder. It wasn't even hidden. It was just a folder, and it was like C:\/ like temp. And like inside of it was a bunch of pictures and videos of him and his own kids that he brought into the store. Like he had 2 kids. Every time he came in the store, he always had 2 kids with him. He had a little boy and a little girl. And every time he come in the store, he bring this computer. We went and searched and we found those videos. And as soon as we did, we immediately called the police. The police came down. We had to show the police, which I thought was like a little weird. Like here, can't you guys go through the computer? Don't you have any computer training? No, you need to show it to us. Like, we don't know how to operate that thing. So the most awkward thing in the world is having to sit there and watch like illegal shit on a computer while a police officer's watching. And then the police officer's like, yep, when is the guy coming back for the computer? We're like, okay, we told him he's going to call. He'll probably be back in the next 2 to 3 hours. So they brought another police officer out that was behind the building. They basically parked a cruiser behind the building. And as soon as he pulled up to get the computer, we went out the back door and we waved at him, and they drove around the front of the store and then had 2 officers run down the alley, and they actually came in and caught him in the store with the 2 kids. They threw him down on the counter, arrested him, read him his rights or whatever. The kids were like screaming and like, "Oh, dad, what's going on, dad?" And they had a social services officer come down like 20 minutes later. I don't know why the social service officer wasn't already there. So these kids are like sitting there crying while their dad's like, in the back of a vehicle, handcuffed, and rightfully so. And so the social service officers came down and got the kids, and they asked us a bunch of questions and interviewed us, and they were like, what exactly did you see? When did he bring the computer in? Has he brought the computer in before? Have you seen this guy before? Do you know who he is? And then they told us that he actually had priors and he actually had a warrant. And I was like, oh my God. So he's already running from somebody across state lines. But this was a guy that came into the store like all the time. He came in and bought stuff all the time in the store. He always brought these kids in. Like, we knew this guy. We knew him by name. And he would come in. He was always this like really strange dude, but he'd always come in and buy stuff. So he's like, oh, good customer. But the second he brought his computer in and we found that, it was like, we called the cops. Cops came down. I mean, there was like, it was straight up. Those cops were like salivating to take this dude down. It was awesome. They handcuffed him, threw him in the car. They took care of the kids. They took him off. And then we never heard anything more about it again. We never had to go testify in court. So whatever was on the computer must have been incriminating enough that they didn't need us to testify. Because the cop said that we had to sign a thing saying that we agree to testify and press charges, and I'm like, well, what are we pressing charges against? And they're like, well, they put your business at risk. Like, by bringing this computer into your business, they put you at risk, and they put your employees at risk for physical and mental harm. And it's like, yeah, so we signed all the paperwork saying that we'd appear in court and we would testify against this guy. They never called us. We never saw the guy again. So I'm pretty sure I don't know what happened. Because he was using a fake name, and I can't remember what his real name was, but I'm pretty sure he's in jail for like the rest of his life, from what we saw.
Oh yeah, man.
And here's the kicker: they said that the kids were both kidnapped. They were his kids, but they were custody to the mother, and he had kidnapped them like 6 months previous and moved across state lines with them. So Mama was like looking for these kids. So the kids, we did get confirmation that the kids did go back to the mother, or at least the social services officer said that that's what would happen. Because we were like, hey, what's going to happen to these kids? And they're like, oh, well, they're going to go back to their mom. She's been looking for them for like 6 months. And we were just like, holy shit, all this because a dude brought a computer in. Like, and so, but we had, just know, if you're taking your computer somewhere, it's going to get rifled through. That's why I make sure every time I bring my computer in for repairs at Puget Systems, I always keep a folder on my desktop with a bunch of D-pics in it. Just because I don't want John to get off too easy.
Yeah, right.
What'd be funny is just to take and put like 1,000 JPGs and videos on your computer, and all of them are just like a pop-up screen that's like, I knew you'd look at this, logged, and have like an animation that's like sending over the internet, alerting owner to intrusion, just to freak him out, because most of the people that work in those places don't know much about computers anyways. That'd be pretty funny. Hey, Naota, thank you for the $5 tip. So what I'm trying to say here is, people rifling through your computer at these places, it's inevitable, but also every once in a while, it's actually very helpful. For the police anyways. Thank you for the $5, Naota. He said, I did data recovery on a drive by putting the PC in a walk-in freezer. Then it worked at a small health food store. It worked well.
Hey, there you go.
Hey, there you go. Screw putting the hard drive in there. Just throw the whole computer in there. They can overclock the piss out of it.
Right? All right, let's move on to something a little lighter here. We're an hour in. I think
why not?
I think the Fortnite ban.
Let's do it. This is the... Well, we were waiting until we got over 400 people in here, and now we do. So now we can talk about Fortnite versus the devil. Actually, they're all the devil. Let's just be clear here. Every one of them's the devil. Epic Games, Google, and Apple, they are all the devil. Let's just start off with the equal ground.
Yeah, they're all facets of the same, corporate thing. But... I don't know. So for anybody who hasn't heard, I'm sure everybody knows, but just in case, Fortnite has been removed from both the Apple Store and Google's Play Store.
What?
They are both. They're also both being taken to court by Epic for not for the. I don't think it's specifically for the removal, but it's for. Anti-competitive practices, basically. Not full-on antitrust style, but they are they totally did this on purpose. They knew what they were doing. This is not by accident, because within hours of them being removed from the Apple Store, they put out this parody video it's a parody of an old Apple ad, the whole 1984 ad that they did back in the 80s. So they knew what they were doing. They did this on purpose.
Yeah.
And this was all, you can totally tell this was a plan for them to bring to light so Apple takes 30%, now 30%, not just of, so Fortnite's free. There's no 30% to take there. But so if it is a purchased app, they take 30% of that cost. They take 30% of all of the in-app purchases.
They also take 30% of any subscriptions, even if Apple doesn't host the services or they're involved in any way, shape, or form or take on any liability. They still want 30% of that business. And
so that's like your Spotify premium subscription. They're taking 30% before passing on the rest to Spotify. Spotify and like Apple doesn't have anything to do with any operation of Spotify's service, which interesting that you point that out, because Spotify did sue Apple in the UK, or the EU rather, about that exact thing.
Yeah.
And it's and the European Union is actually investigating Apple in particular. I think they just opened their investigation in June of this year in relation to all of this stuff. The EU actually has been really strict about these sort of antitrust, anti-competitive actions. They've cracked down on Microsoft. They scolded Google for pre-installing their Chromes, all of their Androids, Google-related Android stuff coming pre-installed on phones. Epic walked Apple into the lawsuit. The thing they're fighting for is that Apple kicked them out for breaking rules, but something Apple has let others pass. And that's true. Yeah. So that's part of this too. Is Apple says, oh, everybody is being the rules are
punished
being
equally, and they're not. They're
totally not. There are I can't think of the specific examples at the moment.
Netflix,
but there are,
Hulu, Amazon Prime Video. Every single one of them maintains a library of content that they do not charge them for the subscription fee.
Well, all right then.
So that's horse shit, right? Because they're saying that you can't take content from your game and on your own infrastructure, like Apple's not doing your own infrastructure. They're saying you can't give them content for an amount of money that you're hosting. Apple's not even hosting it at that point. Right. But it's okay for Hulu and Netflix and stuff to do it as long as it's video content and it's not a video game, which could be arguably the same thing, entertainment, right? It's the entertainment value. And
so I'm Epic isn't mad that they got took off of these platforms.
They expected
They knew.
Yeah.
It's clear as day. Like there's no arguing that they did not break the rules, but they broke the rules in order to drag both of these companies into court because Google takes 30% as well. And with Google, it's a little different because one, you can sideload apps and they don't care. Like if
you don't even have to be in their store. Yeah.
Yeah, if you sideload Fortnite and do in-app purchases through them, that's totally cool. Google says whatever, that's totally your right. But they make it very difficult to sideload apps. They make it seem like you are, putting your device at risk. There's all kinds of pop-ups and scary words that make you think, oh my gosh, I'm installing viruses if I sideload apps, which sure you could, but get them from reputable people. There are multiple. Oh. The Samsung App Store completely bypasses the Google Play Store.
Yeah.
And
dude, there's 50 different Google Play stores. Like, I mean, not Google Play, but Google compatible Android marketplaces you can put on your phone. Yeah.
And have been for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And so I think Google's in a bit of a better place in this because of the other options. I think they're probably not going to get as hurt by any decision out of this. Apple, however, they have a monopoly on their app store.
Yes.
If you want to target iDevices, you have to play Apple's game, and that is anti-competitive. That is anti-consumer. It's totally not cool. And I think that is where Epic is, and I think Facebook is poking Apple as well for. Because of their live streaming thing. Apple told them they had denied. So Facebook gaming is this
the mixer like transition thing?
Okay. Partly, yeah. So Facebook wanted to put out an app, or did. It came out for their streaming service, Facebook Gaming.
Okay.
and but they had to remove there was like mini games built into the app. They kind of had like an extra little store inside of their streaming app, I think is how it worked. And
like the Facebook gaming marketplace, right? It's like you can play like the HTML and JavaScript games or HTML5 games.
I think so, something like that. And they had to take that out in order to get their app approved for the Apple App Store, and so they're fighting Apple about that. And it's all part of the same problem: is that Apple's walled garden is bad.
Yep. Well, and Alan said 30%. So Alan, thank you the 40 rupees also, and the 40 rupees and the 40 rupees. He's got a couple questions in here that I want to answer, but let's answer his latest one first. He said 30% is the industry standard. Are you going to argue? Well, yes.
Yes.
I'm gonna go ahead.
30% is a lot. So I tend to look at pricing from a food service angle. When you're in a restaurant and you see the price on the menu, that price is usually reached by a bit of a flexing rule of thumb. It's you take your product cost, right? That's usually where it starts. Then you add 30% or it can be broken into threes. A third of that menu cost is product, the food, the actual meat and cheese and everything is product. 30% of that is labor. 30% of that is profit. So, and I tend to see a very similar rule of thumb across a lot of other products and services as well. Yeah. 30% is the material cost. 30% is labor. 30% is profit. And that tends to be, it flexes and it adjustables, but and so yes, it's standard, but that isn't necessarily fair when what is Apple providing? But distribution, I suppose. Plus, when it comes to Apple, it's not so much the cost; it's that you are forced to do it. You have no other choice.
Yeah, and hold on, let's be clear here too, though. Like 30%, let's say because somebody said, well, you agreed to the 30% when you joined the marketplace. Okay, hold on, let me qualify something here. When you pay 30, so let's say they take 30%, like Steam does too, right? Steam takes their 30%, but let me draw a distinction between Steam and the Apple marketplace. And this is the distinction that you were just talking about, simplified, is that Apple has a monopoly. Their entire device network, all their iOS devices, everything have to draw from this marketplace. There is no alternative. Without hacking or compromising the device, there is no alternative. With Steam, there's an alternative. With Android, there's an alternative, which means that you don't have a choice. To be in that market, which is 50% of the world's mobile device market, you do have to play by their rules. Now, I'm not saying that Apple shouldn't profit. Let's say Apple does say 30% is fair for whatever they work out their costs. Let's say they do. And you agree to it. The problem here is they're not just charging 30% for the infrastructure they're hosting. They want 30% of the entire business. They're being parasitic is what they're doing.
Yeah.
So that's the difference here is they're not just saying, okay, sell an app in our marketplace for $20. We take 30% and it's over after that. What they're saying is you sell your app, we get a cut of that. You have a service, the back end for your app, we own a percentage of that. Somebody wants to like send an email or send a message through your program and there's a subscription service for that. We want a piece of that too. So Apple's saying that anything in your app, whether it's within their control or outside of their control, it is their 30%. And to be clear here, to draw an analogy real quick, if you wanted to sell your product in a big box store, you might be willing to pay a percentage, right? So that they profit from it. Otherwise, they're not going to sell your product. I totally get that. You put it on their shelves, they sell it, they take a cut of it. Well, what Apple's trying to do here is they're saying that you put something for sale in that store, and then if you sell accessories to that in a completely different store somewhere else that they have nothing to do with, they don't have any effort, any money, or any resources invested into whatsoever, Apple still wants the same percentage from that too. So, and you have no alternative. And with Google, you still have alternatives. Like you can put it in the store. Google has been a lot more relaxed when it comes to in-game content. Like I don't think that they would be really receptive to like Stadia, for instance, like coming in and just being like entire game library is now ours because now they're competing with games that they have in their own marketplace. But in the case of the Epic Mega Games, think about their situation, and they're highlighting this on purpose. Like you said, this whole thing is by design, right? They created their marketplace because they're trying to show that Apple wants 30% of an entire business, not 30% of the part that they're taking on. And that's what I consider unacceptable. 30% is high, but you do agree to it when you join the marketplace. That's a part of the ecosystem. But it's too much when they want everything. Like you go and buy a sandwich and they want 30% of that because you ordered it through your app. You know, it's like that doesn't make any sense to me.
I imagine it and I'd have to investigate this, but I bet that something like Uber Eats, is that an in-app purchase? Like, are they taking a cut of the purchases from something like Uber Eats?
They technically could, but they don't. That's why that's where this double standard comes in. They're treating microtransactions in games differently than they're treating every other transaction and everything else. Well, to a degree. Here's another double standard. So Apple allowed Gmail on their platform. Gmail you can actually subscribe to get more space. So like you can pay, $10 a month to Gmail to get like 100 terabytes or whatever. They don't take a percentage of that from Google. So Google in the app's like a free download. So it's like, okay, why aren't they charging Google for every single subscription to their Gmail service? Yet there was another email app. I can't remember what it was called, but there was a smaller email app that also had a back-end infrastructure that was pretty much identical to Gmail. And Apple basically blocked them from the marketplace unless they agreed to give them 30% of all their subscriptions. So basically what Apple's saying is, because Google is so big and so prominent and we know that our users have those email addresses, so it's going to be hard for them to get on our platform without it. They go ahead and give them a free pass and go, okay, yeah, come on in. Your app can be free. We'll host it. We'll do everything. We're not going to charge you jack shit. But if you're a smaller business or something like that and the tides are turned and you rely on us, then we're going to nickel and dime the ever living shit out of you. So it's an unfair application of their rules.
Yeah. I think they could. Again, I don't think the argument is so much the 30%. It's that you have no choice. It's if you want to sell your thing for our devices, you have to. There is no other choice, and that is anti-competitive. Like that goes against that would be if Tesla said, you buy our car, you buy one of our Teslas, you can only use our charger. That is not fair. That is anti-consumer practices. Yeah. And like you could, and like as shitty as it would be,
or worse yet, they let you charge at home, but they charge you for it. Like in addition to your electricity, you have to pay them a surcharge of like 20 cents per kilowatt goes to them for charging, just for giving you the ability to charge your car using your own electricity.
Yeah, that's not fair. The 30%, okay, yeah, that sucks. Whatever, fine, but like whatever. It's the fact that you have to, that you have no other choice. And even, quite frankly, even the fact that Apple sells a proprietary plug for their phones, for their, everything else is anti-competitive. Like, especially, I think, didn't the EU say that everybody has to use USB-C for their phones and stuff now for mobile devices? At a certain, I think after a certain year, you have to use USB-C.
It wouldn't surprise me, honestly. The EU's been getting pretty antsy in their pantsies about declaring things like what you can look at on the internet sites. Like, actually, one of their things that's kind of interesting is I think they have a law now that says that every single company, foreign or domestic, if you don't want to be firewalled by them, you have to provide like all the what you're doing with the information from your customers. Have you seen that?
Yeah,
one?
the
what's the name of it?
GDPR, something like that.
GDPR,
right?
GDPR,
something like that.
Yeah. So I thought that was actually like a pretty good piece of legislation, and boy, did it make a lot of big companies stand up and notice, because like now all the companies like let you download your data, and they have a disclosure saying how they use your data, and it's pretty interesting, like what came out of that litigation. So I'm kind of curious if we're going to start adopting stuff like that here in the United States. Especially when it comes to companies that have absolute monopolies. Now, keep in mind, there is precedent for what Fortnite is attacking Apple for. Remember, Microsoft had an antitrust suit, and they lost. And MSNBC got separated off and cut off from Microsoft as an independent company. Because Microsoft had a closed-loop monopoly. They basically owned the operating systems. The companies that were building the computers operated under their rules to have the operating system deployed, saying that you had to use Internet Explorer. Fuck you, it's the default inbox. Then they used MSNBC, their media outlet, to basically perpetuate that and to help them in their lawsuits. And finally, the U.S. government stepped in and was like, okay, hold on. This is not okay. Like, because Microsoft's basically positioned themselves that nobody else can compete with them because they make all the rules in this industry.
Right.
And so they yeah.
And I don't know, man. I feel like the U.S. legal system isn't going to really get us anywhere in this argument with Apple.
A lot of lawyers are going to get rich
because they're going to say, "Oh, well, you do have a choice. You could just sell to Android, which has X market share and blah blah blah, and they just this and that."
Yeah.
And so like it's probably going to go Supreme Court status. And given the state of things, like Apple's probably going to come out of it clean. But it's it's fine. It's not fine, but I think this is just one step in an ongoing battle that's going to keep happening.
You know what I think is really important, like, and just to be clear here, I don't think either one of us is like holding Fortnite harmless here. They're a predatory company also that creates I mean, they're literally like just microtransaction hell. They're literally Raid Shadow Legends for like 11-year-old kids.
Yes, I mean, but
it's your right to play. I get it. Playing Fortnite, it's actually a fun game. I do like Fortnite. Well, actually, that's a lie. I like playing PUBG. Fortnite's too complicated for me. But I get it. I get it that Fortnite is a game people love to play. Obviously, it's a $1.2 billion a year game. And when you start getting into the Bs, there's very few games that have gotten into the Bs, right? Fortnite's one of them. GTA 5 is one of them. It's like not a lot of games make it into the billions. They make it in the millions, not the billions. So Fortnite definitely has a lot of power. Like the company Epic has a lot of power, whether you love or hate them. But the one thing that Epic can do that a lot of smaller companies can't do is they can afford to basically pull their game out of two huge platforms. And it doesn't hurt them as financially as, I mean, it really won't hurt them as much as it's going to put the squeeze on Apple. And it's putting this huge spotlight on Apple that all these little companies have been trying to get the media interested. Like Floatplane, for instance. Somebody in chat was just pointing out Floatplane's been blocked by Apple because their model with their subscriptions and everything. Apple wants 30% of the entire business, including the subscription, including the back end, including stuff they don't manage, even the stuff that they don't even check. Like even the code that they will not even check, they won't even review, they don't have to put any resource into, they want 30% cut. So they're fighting them. That other email app, I can't remember what it's called, but there's an email app that's been fighting them. I don't think they've even won yet. Maybe they did, though, because I think that one made it to the media. But the thing is, Epic has the best chance of getting the biggest spotlight on this thing possible, which means now all the companies that are in Apple Store that are just taking it in the butt, they're all going to start rethinking, and they're going to want to file their own lawsuits. They're going to want to tell their own story to the media. And what you're going to see is a problem that people have just silently accepted as just part of the business. They're going to stop taking that now because it's so public and people understand it. And then the Apple customers are going to start looking, not all of them. There's going to be Apple customers that are still like, they love Apple so much that they want Apple to have 30% of everything, including their kid's sandwich that goes to school. But I'm just saying there's going to be a lot more people looking at it going, oh, wait a second here. So by me using an Apple phone, I'm pretty much saying that any company that wants to innovate or get an app on this platform has to pay Apple 30% of their entire business. Not just the app, but 30% of their entire business. And when you look at it that way, that's unacceptable. That is unacceptable. And I'm not saying, but here's the flip side of it too, is what Epic did was still bad. But keep in mind, they're trying to highlight something, right? What Epic did was bad because what they're basically saying is, Apple, we're going to go ahead and make you host our game, send our game to millions of users, eat up all your bandwidth, all your store space, have you put us through the review process and all that. And then we're just going to make all of our money around you in our game. And that also isn't okay. So, but it needs to be something that can be mitigated and something that can be analyzed on a per company, per use basis.
Yeah.
And that's what they're highlighting is like, I can literally just put a free app in the Apple Store and then just drive around your entire in-app purchase scheme.
I would even hesitate though, like they're using up a little bit of bandwidth to download the game, which I would even argue.
Fortnite's pretty huge, dude.
I wonder, is that even coming from Apple servers?
Yes.
Okay.
I do believe that Apple requires everything that's hosted in their marketplace to come from their servers.
Okay.
And they even have to approve it. So like when you upload at least back when I had my license to upload Airbeats and a couple other apps to the App Store, with my license, they basically had to go through, you had to give them source code access. They would even come back through with automated things and say, oh, these lines of code that you did are not allowed. Like you can't use them in this way. You need to change these before you get through the review process. So they do a automated code review. Sometimes it leads to a human code review, and it is hosted on their servers. So for that reason, I'm gonna say that that's okay if it's an app that's on their servers and they're allowing. And plus, free doesn't really mean free. Just to let you know, you still have to buy an Apple license and update it every year and pay for it. So Apple gets money from you even if you never post an app. If you're just a developer, just to get the dev license to develop for the iPhone, you have to pay money.
Is it still $100 a year?
I don't know how much it was. $100 back when I did it, but I don't know how much it is right now. It might have gone up, it might have gone down, but I know that they charge for it, whereas Google doesn't. Google, you can just freely develop games and test them without a license or anything.
Yeah.
You can even give them to your friends and have them sideload them. Like, one of the things I really hated about Apple was when I was developing Angry Sharks on the iPhone, which it's actually still out there. You can actually go play it. Angry Sharks on the iPhone, we'd upload it and they'd do the code review and they'd kick it back to us. And then we'd be like, okay, we need beta testers. But with the license that we had, we could only have 5 beta testers. And what we had to do is we had to send a link, like a message to another iPhone. They would accept it. It would install a certificate. And then that became a beta testing device. And then to get that unlicensed to beta test another device was like really difficult. So at any time, you could only have like 5 of your friends testing your game. And it's like, that's not very practical. Like, there needs to be a method for you to send it out to thousands of people to vet it.
Yeah.
And Apple would literally like really, really rein you in on what you could do. And that's what I didn't like about it. But again, I mean, I do also believe that a company has the right to, you know, put forth their own terms and you can agree to them or not agree to them. But there is an exception to that rule. And the exception is when you are a monopoly and you have created something that is by design a monopoly. And make no mistake, Apple products are, right? Google even offers ways to sideload apps. They let you use different marketplaces. You have the right to root your device and put vanilla Android on it if you want. All those things under Android are required because of the GPL. The way Apple built their business is the opposite. They made sure that they had absolute control over everything. And they own such a large part of the market share that now you basically have to operate by the rules. There's no other choice. Like, if you want your business to survive, you have to pay them the protection money.
Exactly.
And at that point, they need to be held to, you know, a little bit higher standards. Like, at least what they're charging and stuff has to be considered somewhat ethical and make sense. And 30% of an entire business, including the parts that they don't manage, they don't have any parts of, they don't look at, they don't vet. They're like, oh, well, we don't allow microtransactions that aren't through our servers because that could lead to like viruses and stuff. Dude, you allow web browsers on your platform that run HTML5. I can go and run a DOSBox and play freaking emulators and the thing. You're full of shit. You don't check that.
That's bullshit anyway.
Total bullshit.
What it was just a couple years ago. You could get that. There was that like blank text message that could like brick your phone or something.
I remember that. Yeah.
Like, come on, your own messaging app is hackable. So you're gonna tell me that you're not gonna let other people, like, get out.
It's like, dude, you literally had a bug in your operating system that was so bad that I could FaceTime people and just hang up on them and then just watch the webcam and listen to their shit for like hours.
Yeah.
I even tried it myself because I didn't believe it when it first came out. I made like a little video. It's on Twitter or somewhere. I call my friend and I let him know I was doing it, right? I didn't want to be a creeper. So I said, dude, I'm going to call. Don't answer. Just let it ring through. And I let it ring through. And then I just keep letting it go on the FaceTime. And the next thing you know, it's like, dink, answer. Hey, what's going on? Hey, what are we watching here? And I can hear the TV in the background and the camera's pointing at the ceiling. And I was like, what? It was creepy, dude. That was one of the creepiest bugs I've ever seen. So I wonder how many videos were taken through that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So Apple is not like they try to act like they have, and don't get me wrong, Apple does have pretty good security. I mean, in the grand scheme of things, the more access that you give, the less security you're going to have. But my point is, Apple has already proven that they're not a complete walled garden because they allow things like they allow a VM app for running like virtualized stuff. They allow an app that you can install that runs HTML5. Right, which means you can run DOSBox because DOSBox will run under HTML5 now. So web browsers, you can go to any website and play browser games. So why aren't they charging for all those browser games and stuff like that? You can log into services. Like I can log into my Gmail account, you know, or not Gmail would be a bad example because they do free for that. But I could log into like the email account of the service where they're blocking their app. I can still log in through the website and still use its full functionality. So they're full of shit when they're saying that they're like really blocking it because it's a threat to the platform.
Yeah,
it really isn't. That's just a bullshit argument that they're trying to make to like protect their little walled garden. But Apple's getting a little too antsy in their pantsies. If they just charge 30% for the entry, like the rule should be, okay, if you have microtransactions in your game then that should be completely a different percentage model, and they should be the ones that have to host it. They should be the ones that have to, like for the downloads and everything like that, they have to vet it through their regular process and do the code reviews and everything, just like the primary app, if they want to get that percentage of that revenue. If it's offered through the game as the form of a service, like for instance, I enter a game and I go pay to use a service and I want to link my game to that service or something like that, I should not have to pay them 30% of what I'm connecting to. That would be the same as every single website I go to in a web browser, you'd have to pay 30% to Apple. Like, that makes no sense. Like, if I go into Apple and I open up the web browser and I go to LinkedIn or something and I log into my LinkedIn Ultra account, or I go to some other site and I log into my thing, TD Ameritrade, why do I have to pay them 30% of my TD Ameritrade account? Because I log... Exactly. It's like, so it's a double standard. They're implementing it at their own leisure. It's not universal, and they get to make a decision based on how much they think the company benefits their platform or doesn't. So they have all the bargaining power, and I don't think that's fair. And that's why I think even though Google banned Fortnite, I think Google is held a little bit more harmless for doing it, because they can clearly state, listen, Fortnite, you can still sideload your app. You can still send people to your website and install it. It might pop up some things saying, oh, this might be for an untrusted source. But in the end, the user can install their application, continue to play, and they're free to buy anything they want directly from them. Right. Without having to pay Google a damn dime, if that's what they want to do. So Google gives them a mechanism to go outside of the walled garden and do business. Apple does not at all. Right.
And that again, that's the main... That's why I think Apple or Google is going to be okay. Their argument is sound enough where it'll probably be dropped with Google. But yeah, because like there are other options. And for years, for like the first couple of years, Fortnite, you would only get it from their website. You would only sideload it because they were button heads with Google. Yeah. And then after a little while, they're like, yeah, whatever, okay, fine. And again, I think that's totally okay. You want to use Steam to launch your game, to distribute your game, you're going to pay 30% to Valve. Yeah. But you could do Epic, and they are only going to take 12% or whatever, 17%, whatever it is. It's a smaller cut. Good. Like, there are
Steam also, by the way, Steam also does allow for you to maintain your own infrastructure within your game. Like, let me give you an example. GTA 5. If you have GTA 5 on Steam, you open it. What does it do? It launches Rockstar Launcher. Then opens GTA 5, and then if you buy shark cards and shit like that through Rockstar's website and use them in game, Steam doesn't get any of that money. Right. And Steam doesn't care because they sell the game, right? If you buy GTA 5 through Steam, they get a percentage of the cut of the game, and then everything else is managed outside. Steam doesn't have any more relationship with them other than selling it to the customer.
And that's a good point, because like I have a Splinter Cell game that I bought through Steam, but it opens Uplay.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, I'm seeing that more and more. Like, that's a common occurrence because the games have a dependency on their launcher. So Steam launches the game launches its launcher, and then the game is like within its own little walled garden.
Which is, I think, 30%, pretty steep for what I think Steam is offering. But it's standard. Like, okay, you do have other choices. You could go through GOG. You could go through Epic. You could go, you could go through your own website. And incur those infrastructure costs and things like that. So it's just, that's the thing is the choice that's the argument, is that Apple isn't providing a choice. It's pay us 30% or you're going to miss out on 50% of the market.
Yeah. And that's not okay. And the other thing that's really weird too is, and these are the little caveats, right? Is I can get an Apple license. Let's say it's $100 a year. That's what it was when I used to get it. I can create an app that's free, put it in the application in the app marketplace. Apple will send it to anybody that wants it for free. And then instead of in-app purchases, I can literally just have advertisements in my game. I can put ads in my game, and the ads that are in my game and served through there, it's like Apple does not take 30% of it. Like, you can actually tie it into AdSense. One of our games that we made, what was it? Quick Splat Barnacules, is like literally tied into Google AdSense. It doesn't even go through Apple at all. And it was fine. Like, there was no problems with that. Past code review, everything was all good. Because they don't consider like an ad, you showing an ad inside of the thing that's not hosted on their infrastructure. So how's that any different than a microtransaction? So it's just I can make an argument for pretty much everybody's case in this. I can make an argument for what Google's doing. I can make an argument for what Apple's doing. But at the end of the day, the reason why I think it's important that Epic is literally like putting a giant spotlight on Apple right now is that it's really highlighting to Apple users just how closed off they are from the world. Like Apple is making a lot more decisions than it's telling you. Like in their advertisement, they make it seem like having an iPhone, you're going to have the latest and greatest apps and you're always going to have access to everything. And it's the best experience and blah, 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 blah. But now everybody's starting to see that by owning an iPhone, it's like, wow, there's a lot of stuff I can do on Android, for instance, that I can't do on an iPhone and I'll never be able to do on an iPhone. And the biggest one is now that everything's moving to the cloud, like Stadia. So Google Stadia and what's Microsoft's called? Their Xbox streaming service or whatever they're doing. I forget what it's called. So now you've got these cloud-based gaming services. How is that any different than Netflix or Hulu, right? You're logging in and it's a compressed video feed that's coming to you and you're just controlling the narrative, right? At that point, the game isn't even running on the phone. So you have Apple that wants 30% of a subscription fee. Now, I have no problem with them charging for the app. Like I could see Apple like stepping in and saying, listen, if you're an app that's getting downloaded 500 million times a day or whatever, and it's a for-profit app, then we want 30% of the purchase price of the app. But to take 30% of the service price from the company when they do nothing, that's my argument. So my argument isn't against even the 30%. Like Apple can take their pound of flesh for you being in their marketplace, but I don't think that they should be able to just have everything. I don't believe that making a contract to sell your game in their marketplace means that they literally are like on your board of directors and take 30% of your entire company's revenue. I don't think that's okay. That's my argument. What's your ending argument on this, Mr. Zillary?
It's unfair. It's unfair across the board. And honestly, it's just an extension of how Apple does business in general. We take away the headphone jack. Now you have to buy a dongle or our AirPods. Which there's a little openness there because they use Bluetooth, so you can use any Bluetooth headphones if you want. But it's a proprietary plug. You have to. Actually, I think they got in trouble at one point for their proprietary chargers. They were like if you didn't use a certified Apple charger, things would charge slower. I think they got in trouble for that, and now anybody can make their own like Apple chargers that work. Things like that. It's just an extension of how Apple does work. How they do business, and it's been anti-consumer for a long time. I mean, and honestly, I think it's gotten a heck of a lot worse since Jobs died.
That I agree with.
I think when they took away, what was it? Just recently, they put out a Mac. This may be a couple years back. They put out a MacBook that basically had like one Thunderbolt port on it. And you had to buy an extension, a dongle, right, to get more USB ports and things like that. I think Jobs would have flipped out. That's not cool. That's Tim Cook. That's Joni Ives. I think he's their lead design guy. I don't know. It's just they've become more and more about nickel and diming you in any way they possibly can. And I don't know. They don't sell the experience that they used to, really. I mean, don't get me wrong, iPhone, honestly, it was great to develop apps for iPhone. Super great, super easy, super great. I loved it. Way better than Android. Java for Android sucks. Fuck them. Objective-C and Swift, outstanding. Their UI, it's clean, it's crisp. It's a similar flow across all of their mobile devices. They own
the whole ecosystem, right? So it's like that's one thing nobody else has.
There is that, but they charge a premium for it, which doesn't make sense. To some extent, like their engineering is great, like it's gorgeous, but is it worth an extra 50% premium just because they used aluminum?
Yeah.
Like, it's.
I feel like Tim Cook did to Apple what Steve Ballmer did to Microsoft.
Oh, sure.
Like where literally it just went from innovation and being about like making the best thing possible regardless of cost. Like just go for full on opulence, magical experience to just make as much money as humanly possible.
Tim Cook before he took over as CEO was marketing, wasn't he?
Yeah, I believe he was.
Sales or marketing. And that's the trouble. I think it was Jobs himself back in the day when he came back to Apple in the 90s. He had pointed out that he got kicked out because the sales and marketing people had taken over. It wasn't an engineering, it wasn't a technical company anymore. It was all about sales. And I think that's the thing. That's what happened, is when like you get these cool products, you get these cool innovations when the tech people, the engineers and the developers they have a cool idea, and they want to make something new. They want to make something awesome. And then it blows up. It's great. It's awesome. They iterate. It gets better and better and better. And they start making money. Then something happens and the sales and marketing people get put in charge. And it becomes, how can we squeeze as much money out of this thing as we can? We don't want to spend money on making it better anymore. It's good enough. And we're just going to make money.
Exactly.
And that's when things start to tank. And I think we're starting to see a little bit of that with Apple, but they have so much money already. They have like $150 billion cash. We're talking liquid cash. They can just buy. They could, if they wanted to, buy 80% of the tech industry. Like,
I mean, they're $1 trillion business, so yeah, they pretty much could buy the United States.
And so it's like, but that doesn't make it good for people. Was COO, Chief Operating Officer? I would lay money, says Tim Cook's got a sales background, a sales or marketing background.
I would be surprised if he didn't. Tim takes me very much as Satya Nadella at Microsoft, like super marketing dude. Like, it's less about the technology and it's more about how to market it to the user. And that's one of the biggest things I noticed when I was at Microsoft was the trend change between Gates being CEO and Ballmer being CEO. The thing that was apparent when Gates was CEO is that Gates would spend unreal amounts of money on budget. Like, unreal. Like, he would literally just fund every division by 3x, right? Which is fine.
So not sales or marketing, but operations. He is about lean, cutting costs, keeping Cook's actions were, this is just from a quick quote of his early career with Apple, was Cook's actions were recognized for keeping costs under control and combined with the rest of the company generated huge profits. So not sales and marketing, but more operations. Yeah. So basically streamlining processes, making sure things get done quickly and within budget and on time. So, okay.
So the polar opposite of Steve Jobs, basically, who would go over budget and spend insane amounts of resources just to make the edge of a phone look slightly different.
Yeah. So yeah,
I miss the Steve and Wozniak duo. That was where it's there's no amount of money that's too much. Because I mean, that's the thing I liked about Microsoft with Bill at the helm, is the company was so profitable that they could spend just astronomical amounts of money on just R&D, all the time. It didn't matter. Even 90 out of 100 projects would just go into the garbage, right? And they didn't care because they still made enough money. So, and that's gone. That ship has sailed now for pretty much every company. I can't think of a single company that still operates on the model of innovation. They operate on how can we make the absolute cutting edge amount of money. That's why advertisement is the biggest thing that rules the internet right now, is because advertisement isn't just about making a little money by putting an ad up that you may or may not click on. It's turned into this multi-trillion-dollar business where it's learn your audience, analyze people, use every bit of technology you possibly can to get the upper hand on somebody, to find out when they're most vulnerable to purchase something and make sure that it's there and in front of them when they're at that point. Literally listen to the Alexa in your living room. You hit your finger with a hammer and you're fuck, I hate this hammer. This hammer's a piece of shit. Then you walk up to you pick up your phone and you got an advertisement on Facebook for a better hammer, never hit your finger again. And right. It's we're approaching that level of invasiveness when it comes to advertisements. So they're not really focusing on the innovation of the product as far as making your life better per se. They're focusing on trying to evolve the product to a point where they can make the maximum amount of money humanly possible, regardless of the experience. And if they own the experience and they don't have any competition, which you could argue Apple has Android as competition, but within their own garden, once you're invested into the Apple ecosystem, it's very hard to get out. Right? It's once you join the mob, it's you don't get out, right? You don't just get to simply stop being a mobster. It's once you have all these devices, it's okay, well, if I buy an Android phone, I can't use my Apple Watch anymore. If I buy an iPad and I have an Android device, they're not going to talk together and I'm not going to have that experience. Yep. I have an Apple TV, so now I can't I can't cast to my TV because everything else uses a standard Miracast, but Apple has their own secret sauce. So they get you tied into their system, and then whenever you want to leave, and trust me, I want to leave a lot. This has happened over the years. I never leave because I sit and I do the calculus in my head. And I'm like, well, shit, everything I have is Apple in the mobile spectrum. If I switch to an Android device, that's the hard. I love the Android device. I have a Razer phone 2 with a 120 hertz screen that I absolutely adore. But yeah, dude, once you see 120 hertz, there's no going back. But I do go back because I'm like, oh, it doesn't work with my Apple Watch. It doesn't work with my Apple TV. It doesn't work with my iPad. It doesn't work with this. It doesn't work with that. So then you're like, the whole experience seems better, and then you're willing to pay the premium to have that closed loop system. And I'm not even begrudging that Apple shouldn't have a closed loop inside of their system. They should just allow for some contingencies for other people to be able to have options. Because if you take all the options away from everybody, then they're literally indoctrinated into your little mob and they can't get away. Like, it's too expensive.
You'd think, though, that they could make more money by having some sort of, like, certification process, you know?
Yeah.
Like, okay, you could buy the Apple branded, say, Apple TV, but you know what? Sony also sells a certified by Apple dongle thing that, or whatever. I don't know. It would take too. I think it would take too much of a shift in their entire like doing business, way they do business. But it's like, it's. You would think they could make more money by being just a little bit more open and having. If they're going to vet apps the way that they do, they could vet devices and things too. Or vet other, I don't know, like Google did. Like, there's a bunch of weird. I could buy a $12 or a $4 cheese ball Wi-Fi light that will still work with my Google Assistant, or I could buy into the entire Nest ecosystem,
right,
and have all of that stuff. But it's still going to work when I plug in a Philips Hue light.
Yeah, you have options.
And like, I bet Apple gets a bit of that. They get some sort of licensing fee by saying, yes, this will work with Google, I don't know.
I just feel like everybody's getting a little too greedy. So MD Hosty did say, like, what about Tesla? What about SpaceX? Well, actually, the easy solution to those arguments is those affect human lives. Like, when you're driving a car down the road, like, I actually agree with Tesla. Like, you should not be allowed to just, like, write scripts for your autopilot system. Like, SpaceX, you shouldn't be able to, like, just, like, download a module sitting inside the Dragon capsule that, oh, man, this will make us get to the space station 3 minutes faster. I'm going to try this out. And it just, like, circumnavigates the world and explodes. Like, I do understand in those systems where it's, like, the human life is at stake. And I know that you can argue that human life is at stake for everything, right? A cup of water, you can fucking drown in it and die. Or it can keep you alive, right? But my argument being is the car and the space shuttle and stuff like that, those are things that they have to be absolutely proprietary and closed loop to function properly. I don't believe that's the same of a cell phone, for instance, which is just a portal to technology. The iPhone in itself is not that remarkable. It's the fact that it creates a portal to an experience. That's what makes it remarkable.
Yeah.
Same thing with Google. Same thing with Windows Phone, rest in peace. But it's true. Hey, Alan, thank you for the 40 rupees. Said Xbox Live sub is evil too. Paid just to be online. I think isn't PlayStation charging or some shit now?
Yeah.
Yeah, wait. I got a thing that said like PlayStation charged me for something.
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, though. They have to charge for it because I want to make something clear, though. On Xbox Live, you are actually getting value for your money. Because it's not like Xbox is just allowing you to log into the network and go to their servers. Xbox curates everything. When you're on Xbox, the marketplace that you're allowed to go to, the things that are hosted within there from Azure and everything, it's like Microsoft does actually do quite a bit for your Xbox Live subscription. They maintain their own mail system, their own messaging client, their own voice chat servers. Like
cross-play with Windows.
Exactly. All that stuff's built in. So it's not just simply to play online. It's like they are actually offering you a lot with it. But I would argue that I think it's stupid that if all you want to do is just play a game with another person, like, why do they even have to be involved in that, right? Just like with a PC. It's like I should be able to open my game and within my game just join multiplayer and go join somebody else if I want to. Like, they shouldn't be required to use the system, but there would be an incentive to use the system because people would get used to games that work through Xbox Live more reliably, right? But they still want to, everybody's trying to wall off their garden, but a lot of companies don't go as far as Apple. Apple is the one that owns so much of the ecosystem, there's no way that you can get an inch in on them. Let's see, hold on here. Naoda said Apple costs more, does less. That actually is true. That is true, but you get something for that less too. That's the thing, anytime something, the more complex something is, and the more capable something is, the less intuitive it is, and the slower it is. That's, I mean, I don't know. Is there a law around that? Like, does like they got Moore's law? Is there like fucking shitty iPhone law? Because if you think about it, the reason that I use iPhone is because every single thing, Android side by side, every single thing that I do with social media and posting and using it as a portal, including the camera and using it for like a media creation device, this kicks the shit out of all my Android devices. I'm not saying that there isn't an Android device out there that's better in any one area, but as a total device, this works better than anything else for everything that I do mobile. Android is they're ripping off each other though. I looked at the latest version of like Android and I'm like, dude, it looks like iOS. Like iOS and Android literally like merged into each other in iOS 14.
iOS 14 is robbed shit that's been in Android from the beginning.
Right? They just steal from each other continuously.
You know, the whole thing. Yeah, whatever.
Dude, it's like straight up homologated now. Yeah, I give it like one or two more versions before Android and iOS are completely indistinguishable from each other.
Interesting thought though. There are some really cool things. Apple's, so a lot of people say, oh, the iPhone camera, right? The iPhone camera, it's so much better. Actually, it's not. And I learned this from my work podcast. It isn't so much the hardware when it comes to the Apple camera. It's their image processing software. That is amazing. Yeah. Like
the sensor in this thing for the camera is completely unremarkable. If you look at the raw image, like there's an app you can download called it's the only app that Apple certified for raw access. Yeah, Filmic. Is anybody here use Filmic? So download that. It's like $10. It's called Filmic Pro. It's fantastic if you shoot video. If you do like video that you want to make YouTube videos and shit from, Filmic makes the in camera like app look like shit. Like you can actually record 2160p, 60 frames per second. With their noise reduction, you can enable HDR, a bunch of shit that the in camera app doesn't do. But the one thing Filmic does is it allows you to also take pictures, and it allows you to take raw pictures from the sensor. They are noisy as fuck. They are the camera sensor on this is the noisiest fucking camera sensor you've ever seen in your life for low light. However, when you take a picture with the in-app camera, it's adding this like AI denoise filter to it that works really well. Every once in a while it fucks up, but it works really well, and it makes it look like you got this really low like ISO handling capability. But if you look at the raw image before the software is applied to it, it literally looks like a bear in a snowstorm. Like it's bad.
They do their software is great. And I would say, like, so I have a Note 10, and I would go toe to toe with an iPhone. I think of the same generation. Yeah. I'm sure the newer 11 Plus Pro XXX is probably better. But like, I would probably go toe to toe, and I would say my pictures are probably a little better. But that's just me.
On which device?
I have a Note 10.
Oh, well, dude, the Note 10's got actually a good sensor in it. Like, the Note 10 has a better sensor on paper than the iPhone does, so it has to do a lot less with software.
When we go places, like when we go hiking or whatnot, or like when we were in Mexico, I was like the picture taker guy, because everybody in the family now, I think, has, I think my lady has an iPhone 8. I think the teenager, she's got a newer one. Like, I think it's an 11, but not like the 11 Pro. Okay. I can't recall. But even still, like my pictures are better.
Well, I know that the Google Pixel, like I don't have firsthand experience, but I've seen pictures people have sent me and videos people have sent me from the Google Pixel, and it definitely just hands the iPhone Pro Max to its ass. Like, I think absolutely hands its ass.
Especially in low light. Like the night mode is tremendous. I'm shocked, though. You have to be really still, like, you know that it's sitting there. It's basically keeping the shutter open for 2 or 3 seconds.
They just added that like not too long, like 2 versions ago to this. They added a night mode, but you can't just like enable it and disable it. It just does it on its own. Like if it's super low light, like if I put my hand down on it and cover it so there's not a lot of light, and then I hold the thing, it'll say hold still, and then it basically like merges all the images together.
Yeah,
and it's still blurry as fuck because I'm too close. I want to see if I can like do an example like here under my desk. Here, I'll show you guys a picture of my back wall. Okay, so there's no light under my desk. Okay, hold still. Okay, and then what it does is it like maneuvers all the photos together, and you actually get like a nice, clean, no noise picture in a dark room. Yeah. But if you don't hold it perfectly still, the more you move the phone, the image is still sharp, but it's just you don't get as much exposure. Because if it moves too much, then it can't merge a bunch of the photos together, right? So what it's doing is just a software trickery. It's not really holding the shutter open for a period of time. What it's doing is recording a video and then taking the frames out of the video and overlaying them on top of each other using AI. Like slightly skewing them and everything and basically building it up layer by layer. It's very interesting.
I like it.
But it can produce a good picture, but there's certain situations where you take a picture and you're like, holy shit, that does not look natural at all.
Right.
Like, do you remember when they had to disable the beauty filter? Like, when this first came out, the iPhone 11 Pro Max, there was a beauty filter you couldn't disable on the front camera because the front camera on this thing's a piece of shit. It's like it's the noisiest camera you've ever seen in your life. So Apple, instead of fixing the sensor, they just implemented this beauty filter that overdid it, where you looked like you were like a woman with makeup on.
Just flat. Really, really no. Yeah. It was like just like a weird. Yeah, makeup.
It didn't look realistic at all, and then everything else was still noisy. Like it would make you look like all super smooth, but then everything else in the background was like still noisy. And it looks so fucking fake. And I want to say it took them like 3 versions of iOS before they finally disabled that filter, and then they like advertised, and then they improved on the noise algorithm. So the filter was gone, but now you look normal, but now the noise wasn't there. So they improved it with software. But if you saw what it looked like when it shipped, holy shit, was I disappointed. The front camera on this was worse than my iPhone 7. My iPhone 7 had a better front-facing camera with a wider field of view and less noise on the same lighting conditions than this brand new. And I was so disappointed when I traded it in and I got this thing. I was like, how did they fuck this up so bad? But they fixed it with software. And now you just, after a while, you get used to it and you're just like, oh, okay, it works pretty good for what I need it for. Like when I shoot my Jerry in the Raw series or Jerry After Dark over on Patreon, I shoot it with this camera completely unedited using the front-facing camera, and it comes out just fine.
I saw something too about how the like selfie cam or like the front camera lenses they make you look a little more narrow. It's like 25 millimeter versus 200 or something like that. I'm totally.
Well, I know they cropped the shit out of it. Like, so the other problem with there's a lot of problems with this phone. I actually regret buying it, if I'm honest, because it was like literally like $1,500, and I literally paid for this phone. And it's not anything like what I expect. It's still a good experience, but it's like I expected so much more. But the front camera let me down so much because when this now it's better now. They fixed a lot of my gripes, but the biggest thing was they did the beauty filter on the front camera and they cropped it for image stabilization. So instead of putting in a real image stabilized lens like the back lens is, they actually just stabilized it by doing the whole crop it down by 25% and move it around. So you'd be moving the phone and it'd feel like you were on a gimbal, but to get your whole face, you had to be out like this. Because it was so cropped in, and so they removed that crop, so now it's no longer image stabilized on the front, but at least not by much, maybe by a few pixels. Because it was just so shaky. People they thought people would rather have this massively cropped thing, which then they had to apply even more beautification to because you're losing resolution, right? So then they have to add more processing to it. So it's like I think they finally just said fuck it, people just learn how to hold your camera stabler. Art March said, Jerry After Dark content. Yeah, we renamed Jerry in the Raw to Jerry After Dark because I usually shoot it at night and I rarely have a shirt on. Nice. I rarely have it. If you guys would like to see me in all my shirtless glory, talk about my day, head on over to Patreon. Let's see, you paid $500 for your S10 on eBay. $500 for an S10 is a good deal, man. That's a steal. That is a steal. Because what is the retail on one of those? Like $800 or something?
At least.
It's up there. I know it is. I always wanted the Note. Like the Samsung Note phones, for some reason, just give me like a boner. Like the way they look, the way they feel in your hand. I mean, okay, literally a boner. And I like the fact that it's got a stylus built into it, even though I'd probably never use it for anything. It's just handy to have. Oh, you do?
I do, especially when for like messing around with photo editing or documents and stuff. Some games I'll play with the stylus. It's when you need it, it's super cool. I don't use it as much as I should. Like I can actually use it as a remote shutter if I wanted to. Like I can push the button on the pen and it'll take a picture if I'm, too far away from my phone. You can, if you just pop it out with the phone locked, you can just start taking a note. Like you could write.
That is pretty cool.
That kind of cool. It's I definitely don't use it as much as I should or what I could. But I like it a lot.
Hold on here. I'm reporting some spam.
Oh yeah, somebody coming in here and be like, "Oh, come here."
Yeah, no, that's against TOS. So later.
Yeah.
Let's see. You have a knockoff Note, a Stylo 4 Plus. I've never heard of it.
I think that's LG.
Oh, okay. You know what? I have not had good luck with LG phones. I had an LG G4 for a little while, and I sold it to my neighbor after using it for like 15 minutes, and he managed to kill it like dead in like a week. Like just playing Pokemon Go on it, it just literally died. Like it started being like really unstable, and then it wouldn't take a charge, and then it just like pooped the bed. So, and I had one other LG phone too, and I wasn't too thrilled with it. So I don't know. There's some people like LG, but out of all the Android devices that I've used, now granted, I haven't used the Google Pixels. Everybody says the Google Pixels are like these like really nice, well-rounded phones. The Samsungs are the ones that have become closest to getting me off of the iCrack. Like I had a Samsung 7, and the 7, of course they started blowing people's hands off and getting banned off airlines. but other than that, the Note 7 was easily an iPhone killer of the time. Like,
sure.
My state-of-the-art iPhone I had next to this thing, there was no contest. Like, it just kicked its ass in every single department. But then that happened, which set Samsung back, and of course, then I didn't have that phone. I couldn't use it because they bricked it with a firmware, and I never went through the process of trying to bring it back to life because I didn't want it to burn my hand off. But then they came out with, like, the next generation. Like, they did a fixed version of it, and then they came out with the next generation, and I was like, do I really want to spend, like, $1,000, $1,100 for another Note when I already have an iPhone? Now I got a watch. Now, Apple pulled me in with their bullshit, right? I got their fucking AirPods that, are even though they're just Bluetooth earbuds, they just work better with Apple because of their proprietary shit. No lag or anything like that. You got the watch, which I rarely ever wear, but still for some reason, whenever I switch to Android, I'm like, what about the watch? What about the watch? Even though I don't use it just because I know it's there and I bought it and I get frustrated. It's like, I do want to get off the iCrack. And I think that what's going on right now with Apple, how they respond to this is going to change my decision on my next purchase. Yep. Because if Apple is going to just end up blocking all of the future apps that are coming out that heavily rely on cloud, and these companies stand up against Apple and just predominantly, even if it's side loading, like predominantly release on Android, then iPhone, I'm just going to basically worry about everybody pulling back. Like, you're going to have Facebook pulling back. You're going to have Twitter pulling back. All these services are going to start pulling back out of the marketplace if the dominoes start falling. And I don't want to have all these devices when Apple's like, you know what, we're going to make the decision of what you can have on your device. And I'm not going to tolerate that. I'm going to be like, nope, okay, it was cool and convenient for a while, but now you guys are just being dicks.
I think they could totally just let people sideload apps. And most people, just as it is with Android, most people aren't going to.
Yeah. Just let the power users be power users.
Yeah. I think there's honestly, there isn't any, I feel like there wouldn't be any sort of downside.
Yeah. Well, it's like Windows 10, right? I can boot into dev mode in Windows 10. I can just enable dev mode and I can install anything. It doesn't have to be signed. I can install unsigned drivers. I can go write anything I want in Visual Studio, and I can install it as low in the kernel as I want. But I am putting the operating system in a mode where I'm acknowledging that, where it literally says that it's in dev mode, right? So it's like I am acknowledging that my experience from here on out is in my own hands. And I feel like Apple should allow something similar, even if it's at the detriment of certain tech support. Like, they'll still support the hardware or whatever, but even if they don't support like the software experience because you decide to go off the road, that's fine. That's like no different than you jailbreaking. But don't make people have to find vulnerabilities and break down your device so they can run something that you deemed, not worthy of your marketplace. Like, let them make the decision of what they want to do. I think that's fair.
Yeah. And I don't even think it would really be much of a compromise for their, like, security or, I don't know. I think they could.
I agree. Shall we move on to Intel Tiger Lake?
Oh, sure.
Crouching Tiger, Hidden Lake.
This is an interesting one.
I know nothing about this, but I'm going to let you kick it off while I go take a raging dump for like 45 seconds.
So I usually have a good idea of what Intel is up to, given the work that I do, my 9 to 5. So I tend to see what's coming. This I think because this is more laptop related is why I missed this. So apparently, Intel's making some bold claims with their Intel Tiger Lake chips. They're claiming faster PC, longer battery life, better graphics. So they're making big bold claims for their new laptop chips. And I think this is going to be this is a poke at Apple and or not Apple, I'm sorry. AMD and their 4000 series laptop chips, which I've heard good things about. And yeah, I'm with you. Creep here in the chat says some channel talked about Tiger Lake, won't believe it until there's data. I'm a big pusher on that sort of attitude. I tend not to put a lot of time and effort into rumor or marketing talk until there's actual product in hand, there's reputable benchmarking, things like that. So all of this is just smoke and mirrors as far as I'm concerned. Especially, I mean, the graph, here's the link that I'm looking at right now. The graph that they have in this article talking about the Willow Cove core at the heart of Intel's Tiger Lake chips, this graph is garbage. Okay, they've got voltage along the bottom edge, and it's not delineated in any way. And then they have like frequency along the right side edge, and it's like, okay, it's probably in gigahertz, you have to assume, but they don't clearly state that. So marketing graphs, bad. The new low-power AMD laptop processor benchmarked just as fast as Intel 9th Gen 65-watt desktop. Again, until I see it from a reputable site, I always take any, and this is from a guy who does social media marketing. Okay, I am in a position to do marketing talk. Let me tell you, until you cannot, if there's a marketer on stage telling you something about a product that isn't released yet, they are, if not outright lying, they are spinning their data.
Yeah.
AMD just we were just talking, Matt and I were just talking about this the other day. AMD put up a graph. They were supposed to be talking about graphics cards. And the graph that they put up compared an AMD graphics card to an Nvidia graphics card. They're like, oh yeah, our new graphics card, I think it's like the 5700 XT, is as good as like a 2080 in this particular benchmark. Well, the benchmark in the fine print at the bottom of that graph, the benchmark was a CPU benchmark. So like, what? Like, why were you even showing us this data when it isn't actually applicable to like anything? So take it all with a grain of salt. It's supposed to be better. There's all kinds of cool stuff that it's supposed to be working. Tiger Lake will have built-in Thunderbolt 4 and USB 4 support for plugging fast peripherals.
Was it any part of the leak? Like, did the Intel leak include anything on Tiger Lake?
I don't know. I'd have to look back on that. Maybe.
I'm curious because that could really throw some sand in their eyes, like down the road. Because all these promises and shit that they're making, it'd be funny if all the leaked data like was counter to it.
Yeah.
Let's see.
No, go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just trying to figure out. So is Tiger Lake, are they finally picking up shit like PCI 4.0 and stuff, or?
I think this is very laptop related. So
okay, so Thunderbolt 4, USB 4.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and what are they? Who are they trying to compete with? Just themselves, or are they just trying to get better power consumption? Like what's the target of this?
It's supposed to be just better all around.
Okay.
The better integrated graphics. And
it says they're changing up their production too, their production process.
Yeah, there's something about the way they're manufacturing these so that like they can make it a little bit more flexible. It looks like. Dude,
there's still going to be fucking 12 nanometer. Like, why can't Intel get over that hump? Like, I don't get it.
I'm shocked myself. Honestly.
AMD, the poor people company, is literally cranking out wafers that are so thin you can see through them, and Intel can't. Like, what? I don't understand. I'll never understand that.
Yeah, I don't understand myself. I don't know what they're.
And if there's a vulnerability to it, AMD be shitting all over it, and they're not. Or sorry, Intel would be shitting all over AMD, going, "Oh, there's 7 nanometers susceptible to this, and its end of life will be like 3 months." Blah blah blah. But Intel hasn't been doing any of that, so they know it's rock solid. Like Intel knows that they don't got a leg to stand on attacking AMD right now, and otherwise they'd be totally taking it to them. So I don't get. So they've changed their process. They developed what they consider a new processor. Yet it isn't any thinner. It's slightly more power. It uses slightly less power. It looks like it's at least to its credit, it does support USB 4 and Thunderbolt 4. So that's good. That's a
nice,
big step.
Yeah. And Intel's always had a better implementation of Thunderbolt because it's theirs,
right? Nobody ever implements the standard the same as the company that makes it, right?
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of like HTML, right? Like the first browser that was rendering HTML was like Spyglass Mosaic. Remember that?
Right.
And it's like and it was like the shittiest fucking implementation of HTML like ever, but they were the ones that kind of like implemented it. I don't know if they were the creators of it. I think it was an open source standard, but they were the ones that like implemented like the first, this is what it looks like. And so everybody created their web pages in a shitty way that just rendered on that browser. And then everybody else that created a browser had a worse experience the closer they were to the actual standard. Like, do you remember back when Internet Explorer was like the only browser that could render like most websites? Like we're talking back in the Netscape days.
I was like, I only ever recall using Netscape.
So back in the day
before that.
So when Netscape was like that's a story for a whole nother tech talk, is the fight between Microsoft and Netscape. Like Microsoft ended Netscape. Bill Gates literally told Netscape that they either sell, in a nutshell, either Netscape sells themselves to Microsoft, or either Netscape allows them to basically bundle them with the browser and take a cut of some shit, or they destroy him. And Bill kept his word. He did. He sunk Netscape. It was gone because of Microsoft. But the thing is Netscape rendered everything like perfectly, but then Microsoft created Internet Explorer, which like didn't follow the standard like at all. Internet Explorer, they just added their own tags, their own attributes. They misinterpreted everything and did it differently. So then you had this whole new generation of people that were creating web pages for the built-in browser on Windows, and then they looked like shit on Netscape. Netscape couldn't render them right. And it wasn't Netscape's fault. It was because everybody was literally coding to like this broken ass, like non-standard HTML. And Internet Explorer did that for a very, very, very long time until they moved to Edge, actually. Until Edge was the new browser, they were still adopting this shitty standard. And a couple of times they tried to switch to a pure HTML standard. And every time they did it, they broke all the websites that basically built to their broken standard. So Microsoft kind of created their own problem. It was a really bizarre thing. It happened when I was working there because everything that they did to try to make Internet Explorer a better and more compatible browser that followed the HTML Orange Book spec fucked it up, and nobody wanted it. So now they finally fixed it, though. I mean, Edge is actually a pretty solid browser, and the irony is it uses Chromium. So it's like they literally just folded and said, "Fuck it, we're just going to put the same rendering engine that everybody makes shit for."
I have been hearing good things about the new Edge, though.
It's good. And you guys know I'm critical as shit as Microsoft. Like, if Microsoft so much as fucking squeezes out a fart from a mile away, I hear it. And so I'll tell you right now, Edge is actually decent. It's decent. Like, so I recommend trying it, and not the Edge that's in Windows. You still have to go download it. It's not officially in build. You have to download the Chromium version of Edge, but I find that it's faster, smaller footprint than Chrome. I haven't tried using the plugins on it yet. I imagine since it uses the Chromium, you could probably like really easily move the plugins over, at least most of them.
Oh, I think so, yeah.
But it's actually pretty damn good, and the way it's integrated with the operating system is actually decent. So I'd say give it a try. Give it a try. Edge is actually decent now. It's shitty. I fucking hated Edge when they went from Internet Explorer to Edge, and they basically just created an entire brand new web browser from scratch with a completely new rendering engine. It basically broke the web again. I didn't like it, but now that they're all using Chromium, and I think just about everybody uses Chromium, right? I think Firefox has their own engine. Chrome, Brave, I think or Opera. I think Opera has their own little like cut down rendering engine. But I want to say that like 90% of the mainstream browsers that people use today use a Chromium-based rendering engine, at least on PC. I know that Safari has its own little secret sauce too that doesn't render anything for shit. I hate Safari. Is there anybody in here that actually likes Safari? I feel like Safari doesn't render porn sites correctly. That's my complaint. And I think that should be the milestone for every web browser. That's like literally Cinebench for web browsers, porn sites. Like if it doesn't work with porn sites, it isn't. It's not worth it. Firefox for life. Firefox is way too bloated. Firefox is bloatware, dude. And that's not even a rip against Firefox, because Firefox actually does have a really good plugin model. Like if you're writing plugins for a browser and you want to go super deep, Firefox I think has the better SDK than even Google does. But Chrome has just become the standard. Shit, dude, I wrote a plugin yesterday that I'm starting to code again. It's called Trump Evolved, and it literally just replaces all Trump's tweets with Hitchhiker Guide to the Galaxy quotes. Nice. And it's not done. I barely even got it working. But I was really surprised at how easy it is to write a plugin for Chrome. I always thought that you had to like create a binary that gets loaded by Chrome, and then it basically ties into the event model and blah, blah, blah. I know you know what I'm talking about, because you're like, I don't program computers, and then you start talking about polymorphism for an hour.
Hey, I know about it.
Dude, you're a rock star dev, and you're just playing Columbo. Anyways, I know John's got you in the back room writing like telemetry analytic servers. Nah. So I wrote a plugin, and I was like really shocked at how easy it is. It's literally just HTML5. That's it. Like, you don't even have to write like, you can literally just create a folder. You literally create a package that's a manifest that tells Chrome that, hey, I'm a plugin. Tell me what my name is. Tell me what HTML files to load for my menu. Tell me what JavaScript to load for my functionality. And you literally just write HTML and JavaScript, and you have full access to the entire tab, the entire browser. Like, you can go at the tab level, you can go at the page level, you can go at the frame level. You can pick wherever you want to interact with and just query and just replace. It's super easy. Like, if you wanted to just make something that just replace the word fuck with, like, I love you, you're an awesome person, like, on any web page, that would be you'd write that plugin in like 10 lines of code or 10 lines of script. It's really, really intuitive. So I'll probably be doing a Codegasm on that at some point, because a lot of people want to write plugins for Chrome. Yeah. And I always thought that it was going to be like easy, but not really easy. I thought it was still going to be something that was out there. But now the fact that I know you can just use JavaScript, and you're literally creating a web page that Chrome is running on top of the web page that's rendering, but it has all the access to that web page. So you're not having to write any complex code or any external stuff. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. And I thought that was pretty cool. Even the menu, like when you click on your little plugin drop down, and you have a menu, like that's just an HTML page. Like if you click on any of your stuff up there and it pops up a little menu that drops down, those are all just web pages that are being rendered in a little window. Like when you click on TubeBuddy and it shows like a menu looking thing, that's all just from a manifest. Like there's nothing remarkable about any of this. It's like way simpler than I thought it would be. And it actually makes sense as to why there are so many damn plugins written for Chrome, because they massively oversimplified how to create a plugin. It is so easy. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably create a Codegasm that's like really easy, just search and replace, because you can literally just use document, get element by tag name, or get element by attribute, and you can literally just query the entire HTML of an entire web page and say, go find the tag that's called text box and replace the value inside of it with this, and then lo and behold, your rendered page now has that every time you refresh it.
Right.
It's pretty badass. Creep said, Jerry, yes, just a simple plugin video. Let us re-render a single word on the entire page. That would make it doable for us dummies. And then you just evolve it from there, because if you can replace images, you can replace the text to an image, right? Like, if you wanted to, you could just point it to another image on the web, like go find a picture of a cat, right? And then just change the image source tag on everything on the page to that picture of a cat, out hosted on some web page. And now everything you load, just there's cats everywhere. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. So I'll probably be doing a Codegasm on that, because I think that'll be one. It's not C#, so it's something that people can just do in Notepad if they want to. They don't have to install a full SDE or dev environment or whatever. And the other thing too is you can just do like really, really simple stuff, right? Like, quick search and replace, hide things you don't like. Like, dude, ad blockers that they have. You know how inside of Twitter you get those posts that say sponsored on the bottom? Yeah. Literally all you have to do is look for sponsored, and then you basically just walk up to the parent, and then hide it. Visibility equals none.
Nice.
That's all you do in HTML. You could just say a thing, find every word where it says sponsored, every div sponsored on Twitter, and go up to its second parent and set its CSS attribute visibility equals none. And now your entire feed is free of any sponsored post.
Oh,
like easiest plugin in the world to write. Like, I'm surprised there isn't like 5,000. Actually, there probably are 5,000 of them. I didn't honestly look before I did it, but it just goes to show some of the cool stuff that you can do.
Yeah.
And I plan to also write some bots too. Although the bot code I have for ethical reasons, I may not do Codegasms on how to create bots, because I don't think we want like every pleb on earth going and building like Twitter bots that are just endlessly harassing people. But you bet your ass I'm gonna write one.
Hey, I wouldn't mind to do some sort of script or something to what was I just thinking? Like Instagram or TikTok comments, like a bot for that. There's a few people out there that I wouldn't mind spamming.
You have to be careful. You have to be careful of the APIs though, because they're really good about watching for that stuff.
Yeah.
But there's other ways to do it other than API. This is the other thing that I love about writing a plugin for a browser versus just accessing the API of the web page through like SOAP or a RESTful API. Because you could write a standalone program that just talks to the Twitter API, authenticates, and then goes through, and it's basically a program that's just managing your Twitter. Right. But if you do that, then Twitter knows that you're using their API. Therefore, Twitter can imply that it's an automated bot, and they can start putting certain rules and constraints and limitations on it. The way that you work around that, however, is screen scraping. You create a Chrome plugin that's literally looking for specific things, and then using a couple of very simple, like regular expressions to search for tags with like certain text in them. And if you find certain keywords and phrases and stuff, then you can actually like grab the post command for the page, you know, click on that little thing, put its ID in there, type some text, post it back to the page. And then as far as the web server is concerned, you literally just type shit into a text box and press enter. Nice. And so by doing it that way, you're not going through the API. You're actually using it like a real user, and Twitter isn't going to identify your activity as being a bot, so you can get away with a lot more.
That'd be the ticket.
You said Rejax, my bane. No, Rejax is awesome.
Dude, man, Rejax I never did get my head wrapped around regular expressions like that. I never did get it.
You just need the regular expressions cheat sheet. There's a sheet that has like the 75 things you can do in regular expression, and then it makes it like really easy. They're hard to debug, easy to make, hard to debug. Man. If you make a mistake, you're gone.
A whole nother language, man. I could not get my head on it.
Dude, I've written a regular expression before that was 10 pages. One regular expression that was 10 pages of solid text, and the regular expression had all of the logic inside of it to actually go parse one HTML page into an XML document and create a schema for it to like make it into charts and graphs. So I literally created because they didn't have XML transforms back then, like XSLT. So I would just use the regular expression, and I would run it over there, and it would literally go through and find all the shit, and then it would crap out like formulated XML that you could then load, and it would actually like show charts and graphs.
Isn't the point of Rejax though to not take up a bunch of space? Like 10 pages. Like I feel like
you're not supposed to make them that big. I was really pushing the limits of what you could do with Rejax, and anytime there was an error, it was impossible to debug because the only thing that it would tell you back then is that your regular expression had a fault. Yeah. It'll be like, oh, your regular expression encountered a fault, and it like wouldn't tell you like with what command inside of it. So you'd be like, oh shit, there's 10 pages of stuff. So you basically have to just look at the output from it and be like, you know, guesstimate what may have gone wrong. And so you had to be really careful about not accidentally typing a character. You always had to keep a backup copy that was working so you could do a diff and compare them and see if you accidentally put the wrong character in the wrong spot. It was a nightmare, but it was one of those things where it's like I didn't do it because it was the best way to do it. To be honest, it would have been probably way more economical for me to just write a C# application that just did the conversion. But I just wanted to see if it could be done. And the fact that I could do it just made me feel cool. I was like, you know, it was a cool factor. I loved regular expressions at the time, and I was like, can I use a regular expression to literally parse and generate charts and graphs for Excel, like with nothing else, like literally just running a pure regular expression in a PowerShell script? Can I do this? And it turned out I could, which I thought was kind of cool.
What happened to TikTok getting banned? It won't. It's dumb.
That was the most technical explanation we've ever had on the channel, dude.
Yeah.
Touche. Hey, Jason, thank you for that $5 super chat, man. We really appreciate it and love you long time, my friend. He said, if you haven't used the latest Firefox, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, define the latest Firefox, like newer than 6 months ago? If it's newer than 6 months ago, then maybe I do need to try it out again. But I don't know why I would. I mean, Chromium just works fantastic. Like, what is the benefit? Jason, tell me the benefits. Jason, we know you're a man that knows what you're talking about because you had $5 to just blow on like two rando dudes on the internet. So tell us in your own words. Just, you can tag us in chat. You don't have to super chat again. Just tag us in chat. Tell us why.
You have to super chat again, or you're not going to get an answer out of it.
There you go. If you don't super, okay, we changed our mind. We need the money. So if you don't super chat, we're not going to answer your question. Fuck you. No. But yeah, we want to know why Firefox. Why do you think the new Firefox is better? Like, tell us what happened. Like, what made Firefox finally decide that they no longer wanted to be some giant bloatware thing? Wait, Firefox is the only one that runs my 3 ad blockers without any issues? Miss Liz, you run ad blockers? Miss Liz, how could you? Miss Liz, you've been our most loyal supporter and moderator for so long, and we just found out you run ad blockers? Please at least lie to us and tell us we're whitelisted. Like, at least give us that much.
Yeah, right?
It's okay. I'm going to tell you guys something that's going to blow your mind. You guys ready? I don't know if you can handle this, but I too run an ad blocker. But I'm going to qualify it. Instead of a whitelist, I have the blacklist. And it's literally just includes Pornhub because I get sick of those fucking pop-ups that say, your computer is infected by Microsoft, call this number, beep, 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 beep. You press Alt F4, another one pops up, beep, 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 beep. I just got sick of that shit. So I was like, okay, so I ad blocker like Pornhub and I don't know, OnlyFans and Ashley Madison and 4chan. Like I've got like a couple on the list.
Whoa, thanks, Chicken Dance.
Holy shit, Chicken Dance was like, boom, $20. Here, just take it.
What I love is, so I have an ad blocker too, usually.
This is Confessions. Okay, Confessions of the Tech Nerds. Okay.
I love, so occasionally I'll watch Twitch. I don't consume Twitch as much as I used to anymore, but there'll be like a pre-roll ad, right? Well, I don't actually see the ad anymore, but it's just a blank nothing for 30 seconds. It still won't show me the stream, and it'll still show the like 30-second timer or whatever. I just don't actually see the video. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. So I bet they're still getting credit for the ad watch, even if I don't actually see it, because like it still makes
interesting. Me yeah, I didn't even think about that. What if I made an ad blocker that literally just changed the CSS attributes on all the ads to hidden invisible? So they still play. The browser still actually streams it. It's still rendering it. It's just the visibility is 0.
I think, and it could be just I'm really lazy about it. I'm not sure. I have ABP, right? AdBlock Plus, and I guess another one just called AdBlock. I think those are the ones. I guess I thought I had like uBlock or something. Whatever. I don't really care that much. Because whatever. I
can't remember the name of mine because I intentionally hide it. Like I right click and say do not show in case I ever capture the screen. People on the stream don't go, oh, he's running an ad blocker. So I literally have it hidden. It's called, well, actually it's not never mind. It's not an ad blocker. It's pop-up blocker.
Oh, sure.
So so I don't run an ad blocker. I run something called pop-up blocker, and it keeps those fucking like Microsoft scammers from popping up on every site I go to going, you got a virus, call this phone number. I mean, I used to just call them and harass them, but it started getting old. So I was like, I block them. Hey, Alan, thank you for the 40 rupees. He said Firefox renders Pornhub very well. That is good to know. I may have to give it a try. Did Jason ever get back to us on why he thinks Firefox is the greatest? Here, let me scroll up here and see if I can find it here. Firefox has superior customization. How so? You can literally change anything in Chrome. The entire API for Chrome is 100% like exposed. Like I can create a plugin for Chrome that literally will just open like 47 tabs to whatever sites I want, render them however I want, make them however I want. I can even like have external programs interact with it. I'm trying to figure out how Firefox could be more customizable than that. Or are you just saying it's more customizable out of the box? Like you don't even need to create a plugin, like changing like schemes and stuff. I don't know. DNS Crypt said web extensions now, multi-threaded CPU enhancements, and better memory management. Wait, what is web extensions now? That is something I have not heard of. There's really no reason to use Firefox anymore. It's a Chrome clone now. They removed customization features and adopted Chrome's web extensions. So wait a second. Web extensions is something that's in Chrome and people are selling Firefox as supporting web extensions? You're literally saying Firefox is being more like Chrome, so use it instead of Chrome. That's what I'm reading here. Hold on here. Let me see. Dude, we got to get an answer here. We need a straight answer. DNS said Firefox supports web extensions. No, I already saw that, dude. I already saw that, bro. About config, easy to use, everything available from the get-go. I can do about config right here.
I don't know what any of that means.
Or setting, what is it? Settings? It's something else in Chrome, but yeah, you can put in a URL and it just takes you to all the advanced settings. Yeah, I'm a little lost on like why it's better. Ads are going to be in everything because TV is dying. Even in some games, going to be in smart devices, toilets, fridge. Dudes, it's coming, man. There's money. That's money.
I'm all for targeted advertisement, actually. Like,
you son of a bitch. I'm just kidding.
I'm down to be fed ads that are relevant to my interests. I don't, which, like, they're still working on some of that when it comes to, like, YouTube pre-rolls or Twitch ads and things like that. They are garbage. I don't need to see the same Jeep commercial every single time you want to take an ad break. I'm not interested. I'm not going to buy a Jeep. I don't care about
Twitch
Honda.
Does that so much, like the same ad over and over.
Yeah, I don't care. Like that is what's annoying. That is what pisses me off about television ads, like cable, which blew my mind. So like, yeah, I haven't. Yeah, I don't care. I'm very interested in seeing an ad for beard care or journal or notebooks or cool pens or
grow your wiener 4.5 feet and 30
don't
easy
care. I don't need a 4-foot wangus. Like that shit's weird.
I'm hurt. I'm hurt.
but like I like targeted advertisement. I think it's okay.
It's definitely better than random ads. I will admit it's better than because it's going to be something that even if you don't buy it, it'll be somewhat interesting or entertaining.
There have been times where I'm like, hey, that's actually interesting. And I have clicked and I have gone to the website and at least browsed, or, there'll be those ads on Instagram where it's like, yo, give me your email address and I'll send you this, tips and tricks for how to whatever, and I've done that. And like, I'm totally cool. I mean, it's annoying to have to go in and unsubscribe to their email list afterwards, but like, whatever. Targeted advertisement, totally okay. I'm down.
And the thing is, I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret that you don't know yet. Yeah, all those advertisements that you guys are bitching about that you want to go away. You're the fucking reason they're there. Like let me explain. So it used to be that advertisements would just pop up on web pages, and then somebody created an ad blocker that was good enough to identify those URLs and block them, and then you didn't have ads anymore. Then you had a website that would open up that would be like, oh, now the ads are coming from the web server. So the same server. So now AdBlock can't just blanket block all the ads. Now they have to start looking at individual websites to block the ads. Okay, now too many people started doing that. So now they're like, oh, you know what we're going to do? We're just going to embed the fucking ads with random IDs all over the place so that you can't even tell if it's an ad or not because it's being served from the same server. Then people start making like things that start looking at divs and tags and locations and hiding those elements. Then they're like, okay, fuck it. We're just going to embed it into the video. We're going to embed it into the content. We're going to embed the ad into the fucking pictures and into the stream that's going to the browser. So there is no fucking way that they can cut it out. So what you're doing is just like how hackers improve security by breaking it down. All the people running ad block, you are ultimately driving the bulk of the companies to spend a little bit more money because now it's worth it for them. They're losing so much revenue on ad blockers that now it's worth it for them to spend the extra money on the infrastructure that prevents ad blocking from being possible. Now you start running into the websites, and you dirty little bastards know which ones I'm talking about, where it's like, we've detected that you have an ad blocker. You must disable it to see the site.
Yep.
How do they know I have an ad blocker? Oh, because they tried to send it to your browser, and your browser didn't send the request to download it. So they know now that because your browser did not download the advertisement or did not stream the video or pull the RTMP or video stream or whatever, they know that you didn't watch that ad, and they know that you have an ad blocker, so they're going to go ahead and stop that. So now the ad blocker tries to defeat it by creating the stream and run it in the background by hiding it, but then they get smart again. And they're like, oh, we can actually talk to your browser API and make damn sure that thing's actually visible. And if it's not, when the browser script tells us that it was hidden later on, now we can tell you're ad in a browser, would stop whatever you're doing and pop it up on the screen and say, oh, we've detected an ad browser. So it just keeps evolving, is my point. Yep. It's like we've created the advertisements getting to the level that they are today is because everybody running ad blockers. Yep. Ad blockers literally invented the modern ad. So, and we won't win. You're not going to win because it's going to come down to needing like quantum computers to like real-time analyze video frame by frame to like figure out what's an ad and what's not. It's like, it's going to get crazy.
Marketers ruin everything.
They do.
Eventually.
But I do want to say there is an upswing to this. And the upswing is that people like me survive on ad revenue. Like, don't get me wrong, the super chats and stuff like that, and especially on Twitch, the direct support is the biggest thing on Twitch by far. I make like less than $100 a month on ad revenue on Twitch. But ad revenue does make up a significant portion of most creator salaries.
Yep.
So if you enjoy watching content like, like Cletus McFarlane and stuff like that, those ads support those guys. So it's like if everybody that's watching their content is running an ad blocker and YouTube or Google never does anything to basically force ads, and no ads are being run on those channels, then the revenue goes down, which means the quality of the content goes down, or they have to seek other revenue sources, which means now, instead of you having a little 5-second ad that says, oh, do you want to brush your teeth with Colgate, blah, 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 and then you watch your video, now you have a minute-long ad of Raid Shadow Legends. Go play, create your favorite warrior. And now the difference is just now you've turned your content creator into a goddamn commercial.
Yep.
And that's happened. Can you name a single creator? I'm talking like Linus, Jace 2 Cents, Paul and Kyle. Like, can you name a single YouTube creator, a big YouTube creator now that hasn't transitioned to that model of just having pre-rolls and everything because they know everybody's running an ad blocker? And if you didn't run an ad blocker, they wouldn't need to do that because their CPMs would be like $24 instead of $3. It's like you created it. I want you guys to remember that every time you see, hey, have you guys heard about Raid Shadow Legends? Oh, I'm going to tell you about Create Your Own Warrior. You know those guys don't fucking play that game. Like, maybe one of them does. No, none of the... Cletus McFarlane isn't sitting there playing fucking Raid Shadow Legends, even though he's forced to say it. But, you know, he needs his $10,000 because he ain't getting it from the views anymore because the ad blocker. So now he has to put it into the video. And then that makes it harder to skip. But then again, you can still fast forward past it. And some of the guys have been clever. Have you seen the guys with the pre-rolls that'll put the little progress bar at the bottom?
Yeah.
So that you can drag the meter until the progress bar is over and you can find right to the end of the advertisement without watching it, yet they still get their view and the advertiser's still happy. Yeah. So I'm like, that's a good mitigation. But we created this. We created this problem. We continue to create this problem and feed it. And the thing that sucks for me is like, I'm lazy. I don't want to move to these models. I just want to make my money off ads. I just want to make my money how I've always made my money. And now it's like a moving target constantly because once one person figures out how to game the system, everybody games the system. And then I have to adapt like everybody else. Next thing you know, you got Barnacules on there going, oh, did you guys hear about Sony? Oh, and this is a good segue. Sony cameras are the best. And they got this battery. They paid me $10,000 to say this. Okay, rest of the video.
Like, I'm down. I don't know. That kind of a thing is, I feel like that's a good compromise.
No, it is. It is for the creator. It definitely. I'm talking about for the person watching though. Is that they created that? They went from a 5-second ad to they gave the creator the same amount of money to now needing a full minute of the creator taking that minute away from his content to tell you about a product or service that you've heard in every single video they've ever made. And let's be honest, they usually only have like 3 sponsors. Like, most of the YouTube channels, they have the 3 title sponsors. So every video you watch, it ends up being like a very similar ad. Some of them, get creative with it and make something that's entertaining. But for the most part, it's like, are you really going to go play Raid Shadow Legends because fucking Demolition Ranch, who like blows shit up on his property, tells you he plays Raid Shadow Legends and it's like his favorite game in the world? And like, I don't think people are that gullible. I really don't think, but it sucks because now it's like a minute of that video is for that, Yeah. And that's a minute that would have been other content had you just watched the 5-second ad instead of blocking it and forcing them to do that. And then the ads have to be long because, of course, now that they're dealing directly with the company, it used to be everybody had to do ads through AdSense. Like that was a requirement. And because everybody did ads through AdSense without any ad blocker, the CPMs were very, very high. So like you'd get a view on your video. Per 1,000 views on your video, you could make like $24. Now, per thousands of views on your video, you might make between $1 and $3. So because it's changed so dramatically, now that power has been shifted to the company's marketing departments that are like, hey, listen, we'll pay you 10 grand on a video that gets like 500,000 views or whatever. We'll pay you 10 grand if you do a pre-roll for Raid Shadow Legends. And it's totally worth it to them because they would have had to pay 15 grand to Google to get those same ads to run. And you would have made the same amount of net profit, but then it would have been their ad running at the beginning of the video. You wouldn't have had any tie. You wouldn't have been associated with it. You wouldn't have been endorsing that product.
Right.
And that's what I don't like, because I don't want to endorse shit that I don't use. That's the reason why you don't see a lot of sponsors on my thing. Is the only way I'm going to take a sponsor is if it's something that I've already bought and I've already used. I'm not going to be like, oh, today's sponsor is Simply Safe because they sent me a thing in the mail and paid me $10,000 to tell you about Simply Safe. I'm going to be like, I'm going to get Simply Safe. I'm going to install that shit and review it, make sure it works, and I can trust it, and then you guys can have a pre-roll on my channel if you so decide. But doing that model, of course, isn't going to make me a lot of money. It is a very slow model. Most YouTubers are like, listen, marketing company tells them to say something and they just do it.
Yeah.
Hey, Jack, thank you for the $5. Said, how about YouTube Red and Premium? That's actually a good way to support creators.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, well, YouTube, do you know how the YouTube Red thing works?
Nope.
So basically you pay like, there's two ways. So you pay like $9 a month or whatever, but you get access to the premium library of content on YouTube, which is basically the stuff that's like, it's like Netflix. It's like YouTube Netflix. But also if you watch content creators, you don't see any ads. Although let me be clear here again, you still have to watch the embedded pre-roll ads because those are not what being served by YouTube. So you don't see YouTube's conventional ads, but now you have to see the pre-rolls that are in the videos, regardless of whether you pay or not. So that's another downside of that, right? But the creators that you watch the most get the lion's share of that revenue from that $9. So it actually works out really, really well. And then there's channel memberships. Like if you hit the join, have you seen that join channel? If you join the channel, then you get to see the members only feed, which nobody even knows where the community feed is because Google does such a horrible fucking job of showing where it's at in the app. But there's a community feed that's like Twitter basically, and you get access to the member version, which could have unlisted videos and stuff. I put some of my Patreon videos in there. So people that are members of the channels can do that, but it's like $4.99 to be a channel member. We get like half of it, I think, and then they get access to that feed. It's basically like YouTube's version of Patreon.
Okay.
So, but it's like all these different systems are confusing because they're all adopting each other's functionality like so rapidly, even when it doesn't make sense. It's like when Instagram all of a sudden had like Instagram stories. It's like, what the fuck's a story versus me just posting a video? Like, why is this different? Why does this experience feel weird? And then now you're on Facebook and you have like Facebook stories. Like, So I have Instagram stories and Facebook stories, and then it's like on Twitter, it's like Twitter has like stories or something now. It's like all these guys are just picking up each other's features, and it's getting very, very confusing because all these platforms are basically the same. Oh, sorry, I had to fart, bro. I'm sorry. Gas comes out, man. Food goes in, gas comes out.
That's true. That's true.
Mr. Rogue said, I just don't like fanboys. I like Jay's 2 cents, which is neutral. And when it comes to tech, every YouTuber or reviewer should be neutral. Neutral is a strong word. I don't believe any of us are neutral.
I don't, and I disagree. I disagree that every YouTuber should be neutral.
Yeah, like that doesn't make sense. Let's be realistic.
Yeah, no. Like, you can have your thing. You can be, you can have your staunch, like, line.
You gotta pay the bills, man.
Cross it, like, totally fine. Like, you can have a community around that sort of thing. That's up to you.
Yeah.
Like, I think
Linus is a good example of this, because Linus will tell you like what content is the paid. He'll tell you what the paid reviews are and the paid advertisements.
Yeah.
Like, he just tells you at the beginning of the video, so you know what you got. Like, when you're watching the video, you can be like, I can still enjoy this, but I just understand it is a commercial for Intel, or it is a commercial for some screen, or it is a commercial for something. Just like when Jay went to CES and he's driving around to BMW, even though he fucking hates BMWs, right? I mean, he talks shit about them all the time because he drives a Camaro, but he's driving like a $150,000 BMW and going to the racetrack with it during CES and stuff. It's like that was BMW helping him pay for his trip.
Yeah.
Right? It's like the way you get a room in a casino on a trip. You tell them the casino's awesome. You say, oh, this is a cool place. It doesn't mean it's not a cool place. I'm sorry, but $150,000 BMW is cool whether you like BMW or not. I mean, that is a baller vehicle to be driving around in. So it's a sweet deal. So there's a big difference between just being neutral and there's a difference between just being neutral, and there's a difference between actually having like a practical business strategy and just being very transparent about things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and I will say that Jay is very transparent. Like, he will tell you, like, this World of Warship ads are clearly ads. They're clearly commercials. He's clearly said that he has a relationship with him. He does play the game, though. I can attest to that. I've seen him actually play the game. So I'd say that he's more honest than most when it comes to that kind of stuff. And I have a lot of respect for him for that. But just keep in mind that there are a lot of people that, well, I'll argue that there is no such thing as neutrality. Because I'd even argue that I try to stay as neutral as humanly possible. But how can you say neutral when a company sends you something that you ask them for that's like $3,000 and it's like, okay, the cable's a little loose. I'm going to talk about that in my video, but I'm not going to be like, oh, this is a piece of fucking shit. This cable isn't staying attached when everything else is killer, right? It's like, am I really neutral now? Because no, now I'm actually giving concessions to that product because I didn't pay $3,000 for it. If I paid $3,000 for it, I might actually feel a little bit differently about that loose cable. You know what I mean? It's like, so there really is no such thing as being 100% neutral. You can just get as close as you can to it while still surviving and making a living.
And even then you're going to get shit. I don't know.
You'll get shit on no matter what, dude. Videos I've paid for everything myself. I went out of my way and lost my ass on money. People are like, oh my God, this is a commercial. And then the videos that I do where it's like the company sends me a product completely free of charge. I take it out of the box. I fuck with it for like 5 minutes and I make a video and I'm like, these are just my first impressions. Who knows if this is going to be good over time? And then those videos just take off. And everybody's like, oh my God, this is the greatest review ever. And I'm like, oh my fucking God.
Yeah.
Because people don't really know. They don't, you can tell that people don't really know like which is which. Like there's so much flack out there on YouTube that nobody really knows what to trust or not. But here's the things that are supposed to happen. If you ever watch my video and I get a product, I tell you I got the product for free. I always say that. I will never tell you that, oh, hey, today we're going to review this product that I bought myself when it was given to me. No, I will always say the company sent me this product to review and we're going to be checking it out. I tell that company I don't sign any contracts. That's one thing I don't do that other YouTubers do. I don't sign any contracts, which means that there can't be any money that trades hands. There's no tit for tat. I can say whatever I want about that product, and I have on a few times, and the companies weren't too happy with it. But if you send me something, I'm going to be honest about it, and I'm going to review it to the best of my ability. I don't do paid reviews. Never have. I'm not saying anybody shouldn't do paid reviews. There's a shitload of money in that, and if your audience enjoys it, like Unbox Therapy, he drives around in a fucking Lamborghini because he does paid reviews. It's like there is a reason to do it. There's a lot of money, but it's just not for me. It's not for me. But I will accept products from companies, and I'll even reach out to companies and even beg for their products if they're good and things that I actually need and that will make my production better and will make my life better. Yeah, you bet your ass I'm going to ask for those products, and I'm going to tell you guys that I got them for free. So, but just keep in mind when I'm reviewing it, you should look at it from that perspective. And I will tell you whether I think it's worth the price or not. That's why I usually don't talk about prices in my review. I say, go look it up here. There's a link in the description. Go look at it. You can make the decision yourself because since I didn't buy it, it's not fair for me to tell you, oh, this is worth $1,000 or $2,000 or $3,000. That's up to you based on what you see. and what you study. But at the same time, it's like, just realize I got that product for free. I do understand that it's an expensive product. I do hold it to a standard of it being expensive, but just realize I did get that for free. Well, nothing's really for free. You still got to do a review. But my point being is I didn't pay anything for that item. So you need to factor that in when you're watching these videos. Now, if you watch a review where the person's like, I paid for this 100%, I don't have any marketing relationship with the company whatsoever, then that's probably the purest form of review you can possibly watch.
Yep.
Like, because you're not going to get bullshitted by that person because they have no relationship with the company. They didn't get anything for free. They're not going to feel bad if they shit all over the product. But to be honest, there's not a lot of those. There's some people that will do that. Like, they'll throw a few in the mix just to keep it balanced.
Yeah.
Like I know Lewis, was it Lewis from Unbox? Not Lewis. Lou from Unbox Therapy? Yeah. I know that he'll do that. Like, he'll transition in between, paid product placement and stuff that he'll just buy himself just to review, like shit off Amazon. He'll just go buy stuff off Amazon and review it and see what it's like. And he can shit all over that stuff because there's no relationship with the company whatsoever and there's no expectations. So just be smart. Just be smart about it. Oh, no, you have to disclose it to your audience. Chris, I want to be absolutely clear here. The FCC, and a lot of people violate this. That's why you got to be careful. You do have to disclose in your videos. If you get a product for free, you have to say you got a product for free. If you got paid for reviewing that product, you have to disclose you got paid for reviewing that product. And you have to disclose it, I think, within the first 45 seconds of your video.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's like has to be at the beginning. You can't just do it at the end.
I remember the rules were a little wiggly and kind of vague, especially like when it comes to like Instagram and like in video, you just say, hey, this is our sponsored ad. This is our sponsored section. You have to say it. But like for some other content, it's difficult. But heck, the Kardashians even got in big trouble for promoting products that they were paid to post about and didn't. All it takes is just like hashtag ad or hashtag sponsored. Like and they didn't. They got hit actually pretty hard, if I remember right. A couple million at least. But yeah, it's I think the SEC is in on that. Is it the Securities and Exchange Commission? Yep. So yeah. Yeah, you do, but you do have to disclose it. And to be fair, like all the YouTubers that I know do, like everybody I know, like Paul, Kyle, Steve, Jay's 2 cents, Linus, Tech Tips, they all do it. They're all very, very good about in the beginning of the video being like, this company sent me this, or this is a paid review, or this is what do they say? This is a paid product review. And if they say something like when Jay did the review of those little robots that drive around on the desk, he was very clear in the beginning that said that, this is a paid review of these little guys, take the shit with a grain of salt. Okay, let's fuck around with them and have some fun. And I did the same thing with my Kamigami robots. I did 7 years ago. that was the only sponsored video I think I've ever done was Kamigami robots. And in the beginning I said, Kamigami is paying me to review their little origami robot things. So, make up your own mind. And I made that perfectly clear. But I didn't like doing it. That's why I've never done it again. I haven't done a paid review since. Hey, Mr. Rogue, thank you for the 50 sexes. We do like that sex. Thank you for keeping our channel going with your sexes. He said, what do you feel about review vids of hardware unboxed? Have I seen hardware unboxed? I don't recognize that channel. Hardware unboxed. Let me think. Oh, I missed one earlier too. I'm sorry about that. Sergey? Sergey, thank you for the $5 tip. He said, why not just use a DNS pie hole instead? A DNS pie hole will help you block advertisements, but only if the ads are served outside of the web page that you're blocking, which a lot of them are now bringing the ads inside of their own web page or redirecting through their web server so that you can't block them externally. And the other thing is you'll still hit web pages that say you have an ad blocker enabled. Even if you do it through Pi-hole, you'll still hit a website here and there that'll say, oh, you have ad blocker enabled because your IP never reached out and touched that asset because Pi-hole blocked it. Yeah. And they're checking that on the server side. So just beware. I mean, the system is developing a way to protect itself against shit like that, and it always will. It absolutely always will. Let's see. Hold on here. What do you guys? Oh, the hardware unboxed. Why does that sound familiar to me? Hold on here. I might be subscribed to them, and I just haven't seen a video in a while here. Hardware unboxed. I'll recognize the guy immediately. Oh, well, am I subscribed? No, I'm not subscribed. All right, let's see. Who is this guy? Do I recognize him? Oh wait, I've seen this guy before. I'm not a subscriber, but no, I've seen his stuff before. Does he do paid reviews? I mean, he does. I mean, he's doing all right. I mean, his videos are getting 60, 70, 80K views. It looks like he's got 561,000 subscribers. I mean, he's whatever he's doing all right. Yeah.
As long as he discloses it, that's the thing is, guys, I'm not judging here. Like, as long as you disclose it, it's all good. Like, and expect me to do it at some point too, because I got to feed my family. And if every other option gets exhausted and I have to start having like pre-rolls or do some sponsored reviews in between my other content, so be it. That's what it takes.
I would say right now, I'm totally down. I'll totally take 30 seconds to a minute out of our stream to do a read or whatever. If you're cool and I like your product, like, I had a good experience with the one, I guess, activation, I suppose is what the term is that I've done. It was super. And I would totally, I would work with Tunai again if they ever want to. And if other people conduct themselves the way that Tunai did, I'm totally down for that experience. It was great. And I want to do more of that sort of thing. I don't get to scratch my gadget itch as much as I would like. So, yeah.
And I'll tell you what, too, like, we actually wouldn't mind having some sponsors for TechTalk. So if you'd like to have your logo, like, you know, chilling up on this side or up on this side or something during the course of a stream, I mean, reach out on me on DM on Twitter. And we'll arrange something 50-50 split between me and Mr. AuxxZillary. Everything this show makes pretty much gets split between us. So yeah, I mean, sponsorship would actually be helpful because then we could, you know, actually extend the length of the show. What's that?
Oh, I'm just saying, I'm down to do some goofy shit. If any of you in the audience have watched Critical Role, there's a guy on there named Sam Riegel. He does sponsored ad reads for their show. I love that kind of stuff. I would try and do something that would actually be funny and goofy. It's hilarious. I'm down.
Alberto said, let's say you made a company. Can you sponsor yourself? Actually, yes.
Yeah,
you can. I mean, literally, when I worked at Microsoft had to buy their own licenses to their own software. It was the funniest thing I ever saw. We literally had to have a budget to buy packaged software that was shrink wrapped if it was being installed on like a dev box, right? Because of the way the law was laid out, we could just install like a dev build but no, because each employee had to buy the product that they were using, because if it was another company's product, you'd have to, right? So the government basically required Microsoft to buy their own product. So like when you got your dev box at Microsoft, they would give you a shrink wrapped copy of like Windows Vista, and you'd have to like break that shit open, get the CD out in the product key and like install it on your dev box, and then you just use that to run a bunch of VMs of daily builds. And for server stuff, for the servers in the labs, we also had to buy product keys for those. So each server in the lab, Microsoft basically had to pay itself like $10,000 per seat for data center for the build machines. And then that goes to Microsoft. So Microsoft paid itself $10,000, but then they have to take that taxes and give it to the government. So realistically what it is, it's Microsoft gives itself $10,000 and then takes like $2,500 of it in taxes and hands it to the IRS. It's really stupid. It's really stupid how the laws work. I don't know how that would work for like a small corporation, but for like large corporations where you have a ton of employees and you have a ton of infrastructure, they basically don't let you just eat your own Kool-Aid for free. You literally have to buy into your own product, which is really bizarre.
Huh.
I mean, it'd be the same like if you were Samsung and you made TVs and you had TVs all throughout your place. It's like you had to spend money to build those televisions. Right. Like you might be getting them at a discount, but you still have to spend money to build those televisions. So you don't get it for free. So the way they see it is with software companies that don't create something that's so tangible. Yeah. They make it tangible because the government wants their cut. So they're like, put it in a fucking box, shrink wrap it, and buy it back.
That's weird.
And it was really silly. I don't know if they still have to do that, but boy, when I was back there, we'd buy pallets of data center. As a matter of fact, that was that story I told a long time ago about the Robert Howdeshell and Karen Black and all the admins that got arrested for stealing millions of dollars by selling copies of data center off the pallet to like Russians. Like, dude, it was weird shit. And it just happened again recently. I don't know if you guys saw that like a couple of months ago. Somebody else got popped at Microsoft for selling software again. The same fucking thing. It was the same exact scam that these guys ran like 15 years ago and went to prison for, and like somebody else did it. They obviously didn't look into Microsoft's history very much. Let's see here. Oh, somebody was saying that hardware unboxed
trying to get a sponsorship.
What's that?
Say Shikadance trying to get a sponsorship.
Oh, is he? What could Shikadance possibly want advertised?
I don't know. He says how much to sponsor. I said how much you got. He said how much you want. He said it depends on what you want from us.
This is how negotiations go, apparently. I don't know. We'll have to give some thought to that. We'll give some thought to that offline. Shikadance, you follow me on Twitter, so I'll just DM you. I'll come up. I'll look at our statistics and everything and come up with like some stats. But it would be cool to have some sponsors. I think some sponsors would actually be awesome. It'd be very helpful for both of us because usually per show, I mean, full transparency, we might make anywhere from like $20 after YouTube's cut, anywhere from like 20 to 80 bucks a piece per show for like a 3-hour show. So it's like having a single sponsor could like more than double that. And that would be super duper helpful. And it takes the strain off of the audience too, which is really cool. Evil Eye Gaming said $99.99. No, I don't think we'll do the 1 cent trick. We'll do $99.95.
Yeah, there you go.
See, that's a little better because when you're 1 penny away, then it just seems like a slap to the face. But then you're like 5 cents. You're like, that could buy a gumball like 10 years ago. It's kind of worth it.
$4.95 shipping and handling.
You want to move on to the final topic of the return of the Concord, kind of?
Oh, yeah, just a little. I mean, this will be short. It's nothing crazy. They don't have anything yet, but a company called Boom Supersonic. Apparently they have made some good progress on bringing back a supersonic jet. They call it the XB1. They're scheduled to unveil their
passenger carrying jet. We got to clarify that. Passenger carrying.
Yeah, that's a good point because it's their new version of the Concord in a sense.
It literally looks just like the Concord.
Well, there's physics. There's really only one way to do this.
That's a fair point.
Unless you start getting into hyperbolic sort of things, because we could start getting into those sort of high altitude, low orbit sort of hyperbolic launches, which isn't completely unreasonable.
Like Virgin Galactic's doing.
Yeah, right. Which would be super cool. A very similar concept. You could get from here to the other side of the planet in 90 minutes, kind of thing. That's exaggeration, obviously, but okay. So these guys, they're set to unveil their supersonic jet on October 7th. It's a 1/3 scale demonstrator of the Overture, which is what they're calling their supersonic jet.
Fancy.
Taking from New York to London in 3.5 hours, or San Francisco to Tokyo in 6, which is pretty damn cool. They're claiming that they'll operate 100% carbon neutral. And I think I saw somewhere, cruising speed of Mach 2.2, which I think puts it as the fastest commercial jet ever built.
That would actually be a lot faster than Concord, if I'm not mistaken.
I do believe Concord only went to a little over Mach 1.
Man, that guy needs some chapstick. Here, hold on.
1354. So they did Mach 2.04 apparently. So this will be just a squeak faster.
Dude, it's like the Concord, but it doesn't have the drop nose on it. I got it up on stream right now.
Oh, nice. Look at that.
So it looks just like Concord, but it doesn't have the drop nose, which I always thought was like a really intricate mechanism because that thing failed. Like, how do you land? Like you literally came in at such a steep approach. Although I'd imagine now they just got cameras and stuff. Right back then they didn't really have all that technology.
Because I think they tilted it down like that so they could see past the nose, to park the thing and whatnot. So yeah, nowadays I'm sure it's all remote.
I mean, it looks slicker than shit, dude.
It looks smaller. Like so the Concord I think did like around 100 passengers. I wonder if this is not.
Maybe they went for less passengers and more speed, more efficiency.
Yeah, we'll see in there.
Well, the Concord had that really, really sophisticated nose thing, and I know that was a big deal. Like, that thing failed every once in a while. Like, it had 2 windshields. Like Concord's nose would come up, and it would have another windshield, and then, like, when it bent down, there was, like, another windshield behind it. It added a lot of weight to the construction of the aircraft. And then they had to be windshields that were, like, supersonically sound for, like, a sonic boom. So they were basically, like, bulletproof glass.
I'm trying to see if there's any mention of passenger space, but, man, this is cool.
Yeah, it looks like they're still using the same. Oh, wow. Look, they got another jet on the back, too. Did you see that? So instead of just having them on the wings and nacelles, they have, like, smaller ones on the wings and then a big one in the back, like, just coming out the tailpipe.
Good. That's cool. Yeah, so it's a rock. It's basically a rocket.
Yeah, this thing's cool, man.
Like, that's neat.
All carbon. Huh. Well, it's like now we've got all these crazy composites like carbon fiber and carbon-tanium.
Yeah.
And we know how to work with titanium without it costing like $1 bajillion to make like titanium sandwiches like the SR-71 needed. So I'd imagine that they can make these a lot cheaper, like a lot cheaper.
You're right about the cameras. There's a center screen. They're saying that there's a center screen in the instrument panel. Real-time footage from cameras attached to the nose and landing gear.
Oh wow! Wait a second. Are they showing a nose drop on this one? Wait a second. No, I think they're intermixing it between Concord and their version, because their version clearly doesn't have a nose that drops down. Like you can tell looking at the design. I mean, it looks way slicker too. Oh wow, what the hell's that? That was cool. Looked like a fighter jet.
Economics. We are targeting operating costs per seat mile comparable to subsonic business class.
Whatever, dude. Whatever. Okay, that's vaporware. They're never gonna hit that target. Like, well, I'm not gonna say never, but come on, let's be realistic. Like Concord was like $10,000 a seat because it burned so much damn fuel. Even if that thing's like 10 times more efficient, you know, you're still gonna be $1,000 flying anywhere. Actually, $1,000 wouldn't be bad. Like $1,000 for a one-way ticket across the United States. Like if they could get it down to that price, totally.
Yeah, that's pretty. I mean, that's definitely competitive, like for sure.
Tokyo to San Francisco in what, 6 hours? Wow.
Yeah, that's great.
That thing's hauling ass.
I want to know how many
passengers. Cool, man.
They got range, how much it cost, the plane will cost, afterburners, fuel economy, blah blah blah.
Wait, did it say it has afterburners?
Oh, there was a question about it. No. Thanks to 5 decades of technological progress, Overture will be able to perform all phases of flight from takeoff through supersonic speeds without afterburners. It's a much more efficient, reliable aircraft.
Yeah, because I was going to say, afterburners are the biggest waste of fuel, like, ever invented. They're literally only useful on wartime aircraft that need to, like, get the fuck out of Dodge or get somewhere quick. Have you ever seen how an afterburner works? I've been watching this guy that builds engines. He just builds and tests engines. That's all he does for like these companies like Rolls-Royce, turbojet engines that go into fighter jets like F-16s, F-18s, and stuff like that. And he had a jet up on the stand and he was showing it. And I always thought that an afterburner was like, it just dumps fuel into the combustion chamber or whatever and it creates more pressure, right? And into like the turbine. But it doesn't. It's actually a stage after the turbine. So imagine the jet. Like you could put an afterburner on like a 747 in theory. You just have to put a big pipe off the back of the engine and literally just dump fuel into it. You're literally just dumping fuel as fast as you can into the high velocity superheated airstream that's coming out of the back of the engine. And then as it expands and pushes against the wall of the chamber or the iris, you know, they also have an iris on them that they can like squeeze it down to get even more pressure. But it's just crazy. It's literally just dumping fuel. So he has a demo that he does in the video where he just pushes the button and just lets the fuel spray for like a second or two. So you can see how much like the volume of fuel that's being sprayed into the motor when it's not on. Yeah. And it literally looks like 50 garden sprinklers. It literally looks like pressure washers are just going like, I mean, like a gallon a second of fuel. Like when you're using the afterburner, it's the most inefficient thing I could ever imagine. But it like quadruples the thrust of like some of these craft like for a short period of time. But they can't use them for any length of time. Like I always thought that you could just like turn on an afterburner and just let that shit run like indefinitely. But it's like, no, you'll burn your entire 3-hour fuel supply or whatever is gone in like 10 minutes. It's crazy. Hey, Leslie, thank you for the 10 pounds. That is damn nice. He is just a wee thank you for the content, guys. Well, thank you, Leslie. We appreciate that. Yeah. We really do. You guys keep us alive and keep us fed. So I mean, I know that old AuxxZillary still has a daytime job, but I do this stuff full time because well, quite frankly, I don't want to go back to a real job. So I save that for the younger generation that has beards and stuff. I just want to sit at home and rant on the internet and make a living. What's the person's name who does the videos here? Let me see if I can find him really quick. It's like, let's see here, jet engine. Let me see if they pop up here. It's called viral. No, that's not it. Not Viral Maniacs. Where is it? I'll know when I see him. Hold on. Give me a second. Because it's a really cool channel. It's... Wait, that looks like one of his videos, but like somebody stole it and re-uploaded it. God, I hate it when people do that. So, God damn it. This drives me nuts when I'm looking for a channel and I find like every channel that stole their content. Like I'm literally like I did a search for jet engine and the first 3 videos are all his videos, but they're just segments that were ripped out and re-uploaded by somebody else. It's like I want to see like the guy that actually put in the effort and made the whole video. I don't want the person that's just like getting 10 million views riding their coattails. Oh, is that it? Hold on here. No, I'm gonna find this for you guys because this is really freaking cool. Oh, I've seen this. This is here. Let me link you this one here. Copy link to address. This isn't the guy's channel, but check this video out. I watched this just a couple of days ago. This is an F-18 engine. I believe this is the F-18 engine. Let me see. No, sorry, F-16 Fighting Falcon engine with the afterburner. Like when they kick on the afterburner, like look at what this thing looks like. It is insane. Like just imagine how much fuel it takes to create that flame that's going down that tunnel. It's a lot. It's a lot of fuel. Okay, let's see. Where is he? I know he's Canadian. Where is he? Canadian. People literally send him giant jet engines and he rebuilds them and tests them right in-house. And how in the hell am I subscribed to him, but I can't find him?
That's YouTube.
This is what I don't get too, is like, this is another thing I kind of have a gripe about YouTube. Oh, I found it. It's Agent Jay-Z. I can't believe I couldn't remember that. It's literally Agent Jay-Z. Okay, here's his channel, guys. I'll put it in here. Oh, somebody beat me to it. So somebody already beat me to it. Bopsop did. So this guy's really cool. He's this Canadian guy that just rebuilds engines, and he makes all kinds of videos on like how the compressors work. He tears them apart and shows you how all the parts work inside of them. He even has like a dyno to test them. But one of the videos, if you go through, and I think it's one of his fairly recent videos, like within the last year, he has a video where he tests an afterburner on, oh shit. It's an older jet. It's not a current fighter jet. It's like an old, like an F4E Phantom or something like that. And he turns on the afterburner sprayers, and it's like the simplest mechanism you've ever seen. Like, the engine is super complex, but the afterburner is literally just a big cylinder of metal with like a garden sprinkler system in it, just like pressure washing fuel as hard as it can into the center of the flame. It's so weird. And there's an igniter too, because there's not enough heat to ignite the fuel. Like, apparently the JP8 or whatever fuel is really stable, so it takes a shitload of heat to ignite it. So they have like a spark. Their spark plug is like this thing that's like this wide that just makes a giant plasma ball, and that's what ignites the extra fuel and starts the afterburner. Dude, it's freaking wicked, dude.
That's neat. It's
and like the amount of oh yeah, it's a Sabre engine. That's what it is. Okay, so it's a whatever jet that is. It's a Sabre afterburner, and it was 3 months ago. Let me see. Does he have the video of it like blasting out the side of? No, that's not it. It's not the Sabre. Oh no, it is the Sabre. He adds the afterburner to it. Never mind. So like the afterburners can be added and removed. Like literally, it's the most simple. The afterburner is the simplest component in the engine, because it literally just bolts onto the back of it. Like, you can afterburn, well, not everything. It has to be a certain type of turbine, but you can afterburn just about anything by just putting a tube on the end and just pressure washing fuel into it.
Huh.
It's wicked. Woo. All right, guys. Well, we're at 1 p.m. I think that is the official cutoff time that we have agreed upon for Tech Talk, so that we don't just keep doing this like all day, every single day. We don't want to spoil you guys too much. We want to keep you wanting for more. F86, I'm not sure, but go check him out after the stream. Go check out Agent Jay-Z. He's a pretty cool Canadian dude. He has some videos where, I mean, he has like full blown afterburner going on a jet engine, like in his shop, shooting out the back of his shop, and you can literally see it ripping up dirt for like hundreds of feet. Like, you would not want to stand behind a jet engine when the afterburner's running. Like, it would literally. And he said like the temperature of the thrust. Just, oh wow, Biker Chris, thank you so much for the 10 pounds. Holy cow, man. It's so nice of you. So the flame is so hot from the burning fuel in the afterburner that they have to actually like create an air pocket that goes around it. Like, they actually have air from the turbine blowing around it to keep it from contacting the edges of the engines, because it just instantly melted. The aluminum and titanium in the engine would just instantly melt if it even touched it for a second. So they create an air curtain that blows around the fuel sprayer so that the afterburner is basically like cushioned in between air. It's so fucking cool. But anyways, check them out. Wow. Dude, Biker Chris is bae. Biker Chris and Leslie,
man,
thank you so much for your European dollarinos. We appreciate it. All right, guys, so we will see you next week. Same bat time, same bat place, Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific. Here on the old YouTubes, /Barnacules1. Also, if you want to go find us over on the social medias during the week when we're going crazy, I like that. Keep calling, use more zip ties. I love it. If you want to come find us, all the links are down in the video description to come find us on our social media. We also do Twitch live streams. I do one every other day. I'll be doing another one tomorrow. He does one whenever he fucking feels like it.
Yeah.
So,
I'll be back to a regular schedule, probably October.
Go hit follow on all of them. We like to see that follower number go up, and we will see you. If we don't see you over on Twitch, we'll see you again here next week. Sound good? What?
Actually, no, I won't. I should have mentioned this earlier.
You dirty whore.
Another miniature vacay. So, yeah, I won't be here next Saturday. I'm sorry.
Cutting into my pizza money. You see that, guys?
I'm
going to starve to death because he's vacationing. With all. See, he's got all that riches. The guy is so rich, he's just vacationing. Going to the Bahamas. Where you going? Can you say? Is it like too specific of a place?
It might be, yeah.
Okay, don't say then. You don't want fucking creepy stalkers coming and trying to steal your kidneys. All right, guys. Well, we won't see you next week. Unless I'll probably do a Twitch stream instead or whatever, and I'll put something in the community feed so that like 3 of you that know to look there will find it. Or if you're following me on Twitter, you'll know about it because I tell you before I do it. Twitter's where I tell everybody where I'm going to be and when I'm going to be. All right, guys, we will see you in 2 weeks, same bat time, same bat place, and until next time, bye. Oh shit! C Mopar throwing $20 into the ring for some pizza. Thank you, C Mopar. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. And